In the darkest of nights, gonna let my light shine as my heart beats a rhythm with space and time. When the light starts to shine inside your third eye, you awake to the knowledge that you never die. I'm becoming fearless. Greetings and what is up, everyone? It's me, your main man, Frank Castle, your sorcerer supreme, right here each and every Saturday night on YouTube. And I am joined by my co-host and etheric champion and etheric translator, Paula Milo.
Hey, everyone.
Oh man, I felt like I went to a almost like a broadcast position with that one.
Yeah, you did.
What's up, Fearless family? Shout outs to everyone. How's the sound going? You know, there's so many buttons when I start the show. Click this in, click that in, click this in. I'm just hoping that you guys heard everything. And because I don't think I got one intro right since since we started working with StreamYard, although it's all there. It's just a matter of me gripping and pushing and pushing and gripping. How you doing?
I'm good. I had just now. Did you ever have the perfect bite of something? And it's going to sound silly, but it was just a cookie. It was a Malamar, and I'm having a cup of coffee. And it was the last bite before the show started. And it was like the perfect bite of just the perfect combination of cookie and coffee. It was wonderful. What are you
Sounds
doing?
delicious.
What are you doing?
Yeah, I wasn't doing
Oh,
anything.
you weren't doing anything. Okay.
You know, it's funny with things like that.
Nothing
And then
nefarious going on over there?
being in this flesh suit sometimes, I really feel like this is like a Muppet movie, and we're the Muppets.
This whole house is like a Muppet movie.
Well,
It's
everybody's a
ridiculous.
furry creature just running around.
Crying, talking.
One of the things here, push this a little closer to you.
Okay.
As you can tell, we both look a little beat up, like we took a little.
I had a good day. No, I was with your mother all day today. We went Christmas shopping, so I was with her from 9:30 this morning. Um,
Really?
yeah, so I'm just a little tired, but I'm good. I'm good. We had a great day. We really did have a good day.
I'm glad to hear that.
Hmm.
I okay, so I guess we'll get right into it.
Okay.
I don't want to lowball it and slowball it, but basically tonight's show, I had nothing to say new, and then I realized I actually do. Right? Like,
You do because there's
okay,
a lot of content that you don't get
the
to.
upgrades are there, right?
Oh yeah.
But it feels like downgrades sometimes,
Oh yeah.
right? You want to
Hmm.
leap off the floor and go, yeah, right, and then it slam onto your face. But I think one of the things that I realized this week, this time, is that we're not down. Let's see what hand. We're not down here anymore.
Hmm.
So when you make that weird jump and then you come back down, you don't go back down to here. You just go down like, or you land on the new level face first. Maybe you shoot a little too high and then boom, and then it feels, oh, I got to integrate shadow work, hard work. I got to meditate. I don't have time. I don't even have the energy. Okay, I'm gonna tell you what I did. You want to know what I did? Okay, so I was sitting on the throne, right? And all I did, where's my arm? I reached out. It was the other arm, and then I looked, right? And I couldn't move my neck for like 2 days.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
And I say to myself, you gotta be kidding me at this point. I thought I'm turning into a light warrior, super soldier of awesomeness, and all that great stuff. And no, I'm subject to just sitting down on the bowl and turning my head, and it's 2 days gone, done, 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 done. Right, but in the middle of that, right in the middle of all that, even when the pain hit me, I still feel it. No, I've just touching.
You did it twice.
You have body armor on.
I'm sorry, I'm cold. This apartment, it's either very, very warm or very very cold. And right now it happens to be extremely cold in here. I'm sorry. I
I
know
feel like if this
you
was
hate. I know
Guardians of the
you.
Galaxy,
I know.
right,
I
you'd
know.
leave that right
You
at the
know.
exit door. So when you go onto a new planet and you just want to make sure you're okay, you throw
You
that
know.
on.
I got a lot.
You'll
I
get a
got rid
good
of a
5 minutes in the new environment.
Frankie hates my sweaters. My he calls them old lady sweaters. He hates them. So I got rid of a lot of them. And there were only a few that I kept. And the deal was look at what I did for you. Leave me alone with what I have left. So it's cold.
No, it was
I feel sexy on the inside though. I just don't show it.
no, you
It's a
had that
fantasy.
one that was the same color as Sherman, and that was the
Oh, the
orange cat,
cat, yeah.
right? But that was he was kind of orange, but it was like orange Fozzie Bear.
like a burnt sienna, yeah,
You're
like a
right.
Fozzie Bear
So
color, a
when
little
she put
lighter.
hers on, I was like, "What is that?" I felt like she was gonna start telling like jokes and stuff, and
I didn't wear it after that.
no, she actually
It
gave
was
it to
really
Sherman, and he slept in it
yeah. He
like
slept in it for like a year.
as if he was
Yeah.
home. He's
Shut
what you do to
shut
my
up.
mother.
Shut up. Stupid.
Oh, so during these times, um, all right, we're taking it like right on the chin, and you almost want to give up and run
Oh, I
away.
took it on the chin on
Well,
Tuesday.
I was going to build to this
Go
without
ahead.
actually
No,
saying
no,
it.
go ahead. Go ahead.
So just when you think none of the work is paid off, because now you're back to again, it feels heavy and dense, and and I hurt my neck and my arm and my back, right? I just love the way Paula looks at me. And all right, so you feel you've fallen down the tunnel, right down the hole,
Oh yeah.
except you're not as deep down as you might think. It's more of a Paula has described this. It's a moment in time, and that's it. It's a moment. So if you could breathe your way through the moment, right through the rage pot or the
Oh yeah. There are very few times when Paul is on the opposite end of the freak out. So we're used to Frank freaking out, but we're really not used to Paula ever having a major freak out.
I'll be honest, I know where I get my reputation from. I had to watch myself do it, and I was like, ooh, ugh,
Yeah, but I
poor
mean,
Paul.
in the
My
time
mother is
in
a
the
saint.
yeah in the time that we've known each other, I mean, you can really count on one hand how many times I've freaked out. Honestly, right? Like
Listen, one time
honestly.
Paula screamed, and I closed my eyes because it was so loud. And as the cats always run opposite direction of me, except for Parker, who runs directly to me no matter what happens, right? I saw the concentric circles and rings coming out of her
Oh,
mouth
like
as if
Black
she was
Canary.
Black Canary on the Arrow show where she yells, "Ah, ah, ah, ah," and then the rings come out and just bullet hit you. But I had my eyes closed and I could see that. It looked like golden rings. And when I opened my eyes, it was like having an angry bird screaming at you from the video game. She had both arms at her side. She was like, oh, no, no, no. I was like, I'm sorry.
Not my finest moment, but again, to my defense, there haven't been many of them. So this it was Tuesday or Wednesday. It may have been Wednesday, and I know a lot of people were going through this situation on Wednesday where they couldn't get anything they needed to get accomplished. Nothing got accomplished, and a lot of people that Frank and I spoke to, they're like we're stuck in the mud. So there was
Like swimming
yeah,
in
swimming in
molasses.
molasses. Exactly. That's exactly how Wednesday went down.
Dawn, I love you.
And it was a combination of, I think, miscommunication and confusion. And so I was at Frank's mom's house, and Frank's brother was there, and Frank was on his way. So I had time to talk to everyone before Frank got there, and his brother said something that triggered me, and I kind of knew better, but I went for it. I took the bait, and it started a chain reaction in me. Something horrible. I felt terrible. I mean, I completely unleashed like an animal in the wild, and I had no explanation for it. I had no understanding of why this was even happening. I told his brother he wasn't coming.
No, don't
To,
jump too far ahead.
no. We're not gonna we're not gonna go into the details, but I mean, I said horrible things. I
I'll
really
mention
did,
one thing that was pretty funny because I've
and
never seen anything like that before, and I've done some shit.
I mean, I
No, but
all I could say in my defense is that doesn't happen often. And when it was over, I was horrified, so I immediately apologized to everyone, and I said, "Look, I don't know what happened, but." And they were like, "Oh no, we just never saw you like that. We were all worried because we've never seen you like that." And then what I got from that was, "Hey, that never happens to me," which was not the correct message
so
to get out of it.
I all right, so this was my point, so I'll bring it back around of being in the low point but not lower than you not as low as you think you were, let's say 5 years ago, a year ago, a month ago, right? Like you
Right.
could work it all the way back because I was feeling like not depressive, but yeah, I feel like I've been pulling in people's stuff and then transmuting it, and I don't like that. And I've been trying to stop it, and it won't stop. But then it transmutes, right? But I've had this like cold for almost 2 months now, right? It goes away. I feel fine, but you can see I look beat up. Then that stuff starts happening, and I want them to know it's like a bronchitis
They
thing.
would have just believed you if you said I
No,
got
no,
a
I
little
want
cold.
you to hear it because at night I wake up and I can't breathe sometimes, and I
So
think I'm
everyone knows
dying.
that.
Wait, I'm gonna bring this around.
Oh, you are? Okay.
No, no, I'm just running off on a tangent so I can purposely disrupt your nefarious plans of
My
taking over the
nefarious
show.
plan.
All right,
That's
so
after.
I'm like, I walk over to the house so I can start getting a little more exercise because I'm not sick. I don't feel it, but inside something's off, right? But I'm also down. So there's like that natural, here we are again. The event, solar flash, grandma just died, poor grandpa, my mother, right? So I'm trying to like get that out. So I know I'm sorry if I'm being over specific or detailed because all
Tell
right,
your
so
story.
I go walk across Pelham Park when I touch the big tree,
Hmm.
and I'm like, oh tree, I'm only rubbing, oh tree, I love you, right? I'm trying to get rid of some of that energy. So I get to the house, and I was listening to meditation music the whole time on the way over. When I walk in, it it seemed to me that everybody was moving quicker than they should be.
Right.
That's what it appeared to me.
That's so wild.
Like everyone's activity, and I know we've seen this in cartoons or something where the person's just normal and they like roll up somewhere and everything's just a little quicker or a little slower. For me it was a little bit quicker, just as if they turned it up a notch on the speed.
Why do you think you were seeing it like that?
I don't know, but this is what happened. So I wanted to have an emotional output and give you guys some stuff, but
Hmm.
I couldn't I couldn't because every time I went to interact, it almost like it would be me going, "Meh," and then you going, what? Like, and it's like me talking to you almost sounded like it would come out dead. So I would
Like
say
the words would
stuff
fall to the
because
floor.
you're moving too fast for
Oh
me to
yeah, it
be
was
in that.
moving
I
fast.
can't
All
be in that
right.
frequency anymore. I cannot do it in that frequency, but that's life. That's like real life's frequency. I'm here to build my own because due to injuries, due to this, due to that, I have to build my own life, right? But I walk into your home and you're moving at that speed. Wow, muy difficult. So my grandfather's sick, so he's not moving at that speed, but you can see him battling, and you can see the girl across from him that takes care of him, just like hanging out, doing her thing, and she's like moving, and I'm like, what is that? It's just her, just a slight wobble in her seemed too quickly for any one. So I go over, kiss her hello, I kiss him hello, I kiss you hello, my mother, my brother, I shake his hand, and the conversation starts popping.
Oh yeah, it got
So he sat in between us, and then
And then
My brother has a way to get you,
the energy
not
was
you,
just no,
but
no, it no,
anyone.
no, it no, it's me in particular,
No,
and
no,
I
no.
don't know
We'll blame
why.
you in a minute. We'll get to that
Okay,
craziness in a minute. But he has the ability. Now, I'm not blaming my family. Hold on. Let me. This is like some weird thing that happened to me and then happened to Paula in the same moment. And when I tell you what we did and then how we spoke afterwards about it, when I was me, it felt like an emotionless but full of emotion person that it was not allowing not one bit of emotion, literally not one. But it was the first time this has ever happened outside of ayahuasca or like observing a child or a cat and standing there quietly observing and then reacting, and then catching them in the weirdness. But the three of you, my brother has this frequency and he's like da da da, he's like crazy Eddie, your prices are insane, right? Like he is that. He's That's the old me, the old rapper.
yeah,
And he was the calm rapper and now he's the dad and he's got that. But my mother has it, and I watch her around you because you used to have it, right? Like I did.
yeah.
You
I
get
try
it.
to transmute it a little.
No, when you
It's
house
hard though,
clean and
yeah.
you do like a 6 hour straight,
Oh yeah, 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 yeah,
it'll
yeah.
refocus and you go, oh, there it is, right? Because you all right. So they're like, well, my mother would explain this to me by saying, and I'm just, this is an example for everyone else. So there's real life Frank, and life moves at this speed, but then there's the unhealthy me as the shaman who doesn't have to do that, refuses to even have that in my life. I'm stepping back and watch that. It looks like it's killing you quicker. Like time is sped up in your bubble and you guys are playing ping pong, 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 moving around the house. I've never seen two people get so much done and sometimes nothing done.
It
I
was
know.
just a
It's the
weird,
whole,
yeah, just
everyone's
a
got
weird
this.
day.
So now we all love each other, right? But
Oh yeah,
I'm the
without
shaman
question.
weirdo in this situation. So I can't, I'm not, there's no blame, but this is the observation thing happen when I say we must become observers and this and that
Hmm.
without reacting right away because it's meant the distractions and the things that you don't quite understand
Right,
yet. We
right.
don't understand. I don't understand either. They're in place to cause you to have the emotional outburst so then they can react to you in the way they want to. So it's like the setup to the play. So you have to play just straight observer. I never play straight observer
No,
like the way what was going on at my house.
no, you've never been that quiet in a situation like that.
My brother
To honestly,
yeah, he was getting into our conversation. He said something. I don't know what the conversation was all about. It kind of ended.
hey, hey, everyone.
He gave me a little burst of what was happening. I was like, wow, that's great. And then he was asking us questions. Well, if this is like this, then how
Hmm.
is it like this? And I was trying to explain the the Russian nesting doll and how the consciousness is actually up here and it's coming down. The idea is to get all the dolls into one and then be on the playing field here. That's what we're trying to do. But the consciousness is here. So the hijacking comes in form of the human. So the consciousness can't fully react. I'm trying to explain this. She's trying to explain this, and she starts getting hyper assertive. Like I kind of never saw her like this before, but I saw something else recently. She kind of let something fly, and it was just truth. I had nothing bad to say to her for saying something like that because it was 100% truth. But it was the way it came out and it was presented perfectly, but was highly unexpected. And it changed the conversation, but it kept it real. And then things happened and it went more real. Then later on, it was brought back into the conversation. Like when you said that earlier, then this occurred. But now I see it's all done with love. And it's like, wow, I can't believe people are learning these lessons. Okay. So Paula and Banks start talking, and my mother's interrupting every 30 seconds with something that has nothing to do with this, nothing to do with anything at all.
I actually think that was her very nice way of trying to
Trying to
break it up.
Well, I
But
didn't
because
catch
I
on
didn't
to it, your
realize
assertiveness until you were like
I
five
was like
sentences in before I was
locked
like,
in
oh,
and ready to
I
kill.
couldn't tell if she was joking with him because we all play around, but we were talking about New Earth, right? And and how, like, who's going, who's not going. But I was trying to say, we were all trying to say, Paul and myself, to Rob, that um, everyone goes. It's just at your pace. That's all. Right. So no one's luckier than the other. We all just have our contracts and our purpose to help the whole planet, the whole system collapse to make the planet rise and all good stuff. Right. So she starts, he asks a question, and she just bursts out, it doesn't matter because you're not going. Right. Right. Like, you're not going anywhere. So does it matter? Right. Because you're not,
I
she goes,
didn't want to scare him
but
though.
it doesn't matter because you're not going. I was like, whoa. I was sitting back like, and then like the fifth time she said it, she just started speaking over him. And she's like, it doesn't matter because you're not going to be there. And I'm thinking in my head, man, I spent an entire ayahuasca session going to my brother to find out that he was some monolithic being that's not even in the DNA bloodline on
I
the
get that.
spiritual
I get
world,
all that.
who
That's
went
fine.
from, hi, I look at this stuff and I became a
Look,
sanitation
I
worker, lost all the
apologize.
fantasy, to getting it all, becoming Rob Banks from the rap into the comic world and the toy world, and doing exactly what he
I
always
know,
said he
Dawn.
wanted to do.
It was horrible. That's not completely out of character
But
for me. But I think I was just using tough love because I was just tired of his nonsensical discussion. I was just a very bad day for me. But you don't understand. I don't have many bad days. So I really do. Oh, blessings. I don't have many bad days. So, I knew I was completely in the wrong.
all right,
And
check
I
it out. It's not
apologize.
about, this isn't we're not judging Paula.
No,
This is
no, no,
just
no, no,
something
no. But it was out of character, and I shouldn't have
I've
done
never
that.
seen.
It was
Well,
he was afraid. I mean, there's
so
very few times where Frank isn't
in
like,
my mind, they were moving too fast for me.
oh,
And
we
my
were
mother,
all moving
she
very
was she
fast.
kept handing
Yes.
me her phone. I need you to do this. We're getting
Yeah.
security systems on the homes and all kinds of crazy awesome stuff, and we're doing all kinds of things. And we're like, I can't do it right now. I can't
Right.
hear. She was faster, moving faster than the two of them.
Yes.
But the my brother was just laughing, right? Because he'll work you up and then just sit back and then just watch the show, and it's like, that's what it is to him. But he was on point, and the questions he was asking were real. But
No, they were
okay,
good
so this
questions.
isn't about you snapping, it's about me observing you snapping, and then what came out of the whole thing. Because
Oh yeah. Yeah,
two
yeah,
times,
yeah.
it's not that you snapped. um I almost feel, almost, I'm like right on the teetering edge, and I got to maybe meditate on it or it'll come to me, that when you just said tough love, that maybe he was like teetering on something, and then
Hmm.
you just came in and were like, look, dummy, this is what you got to do. And then he was just like, okay. And then by the end of the
Yeah.
conversation, even though it was
Yeah.
whatever,
Just be a good guy. Just be
and
kind.
it
Just be
kept him straight,
kind.
get like, go that way, because it gives you something to think about. Because a lot
Hmm.
of things are like, it wasn't vicious, it wasn't malicious,
He
it
did think
was
about it though.
when you
He said, "I'm navigating through my life."
when we had
He
that
was thinking
conversation with
about it.
that person where you let it
Oh
fly,
yeah, I
it
did.
was just truth. So we're not going to say what it was or nothing, but
Right.
it worked on the other end, is what I'm getting at.
Right.
Now, Paula is acting. That would be out of your comfort zone, or
Oh, completely out of my comfort
but
zone.
in
I do
pure
not.
truth free.
Yeah. Oh, absolute truth. I do not like conflict, but I will not lie, and I will not lie to you. You ask me a question, I'll give you an honest answer. You want my opinion, I'm going to give it to you. I don't offer my opinion, but if you're specifically asking me, I am going to give
Like
it
the
to you.
higher self would just like, so you can't BS the higher self.
Nope.
So the two higher guys are they're having the conversation, and it's filtering down, and it's all in agreement that certain things need to come out, right? And if it's like a family member or somebody, I don't know, it's
Someone you
random.
love,
No,
yeah.
it's random at sometimes, because a dude on the street will just say something sometimes, and it'll come through that
But you're the one
person,
that
and you'll
tells
look over
me,
and go, oh,
yeah,
and that's like the creator,
but think
the
about it.
higher self
You're
doing
the
that.
one that tells me stop babying everybody. Stop baby stepping everything. Stop babying
That's why I'm
everybody.
saying no, but the
Stop
way you
being a
did it
crutch.
wasn't like, it wasn't like, um it wouldn't have started a fight, right? It wouldn't have created an uncomfortable situation and made it worse. It actually just right on the target, right at the perfect
I
moment,
hope
even
so.
though it was a little
Oh, thank you.
because of the way it flies out. Right. And you're almost like, was I channeling that? Because when you look back at it later, you're like, that's so out of character for me. Well, is it though? If you're open and honest and truthful,
Hmm.
and you have to find a way to do it, and we all stutter with certain things where you cannot stutter anymore. Time for stuttering is over. And then it slips in the perfect moment. Like the universe is like, guess what? Bing, perfect moment,
Well,
divine timing, whatever you
well,
want to call it.
honestly, when we talked about it when we got home, you sat me down and you were, and we love you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Nicole, we love you so much. Shout outs to Soul Funds.
You sat me down and you had a grown up discussion with me
Okay, what afterwards?
as
Okay, so
the
I couldn't
observer.
uh now sending positive vibes to you, Nicole. Thank you so much. So afterwards, we had to have a talk, and then I couldn't react to any of this stuff that was going on. I told my mother, I gave her back her phone. I says, I can't do this here. Okay, so
I
wait,
completely
there's
flat
all
left your
this weird
mother.
stuff that went on. So
Oh, yeah,
Paula was
tell
gonna
us.
leave with my mother. I was gonna go
Home.
come home, and Ra and I are trying to put something together, and we are shout outs to Ra, I have Ra. But we keep missing the mark. So he said, come meet me this time. So I said, okay. So I was trying to tell that to Paula, but there was no communicating.
I misunderstood
It was like
exactly what he was
me
saying. So I
talking
ended up
like
flat leaving his
this.
mother and saying, no, I have to leave
But wait,
now.
so my mother,
Yeah,
she flat left us for like she
right.
just heard what she wanted to hear and
And
ran
then
out of the
ran
house.
out.
I have to go to the store. I have to go right now. Water's on sale. So I was like, wait, what? She was gone. And I'm like, Paul
And
was standing in front of me.
angry
And
and
then my brother's like, all right, see you later, whatever. And then, okay, so we left and went home, and we had, you said earlier, I got to do this, I got to do this. So we didn't do that.
nothing got accomplished that day.
She drove
Zero.
us home.
I went all the way to his mom's house, drove him back, and not one thing got accomplished.
Okay, nothing got accomplished. So then I get
No
here,
one got
and
anything
I'm like,
accomplished.
she's like, you're going to do your thing. And then he said, I have a reading. I can't. So I said, okay, well, this will go on later. So now nothing for me, right? My mother, I find out
Returned home.
there was so much traffic that it took her an hour just to turn around and come home. She can get out of the neighborhood. She's like, I'm not dealing with this. And just came home. So she got nothing done. Sometimes we're just fighting it all the whole way.
The whole way, every single one of us, all the way around.
And then, yeah, so
it's horrible.
I tell Paul, now I still can't react. I'm still unreactionary.
Shocked.
And all right, I didn't feel cold on the inside. I didn't feel computer like the way like a robot might shoot stuff back at you unemotional, or the AI or something, right? But it was completely bullet noted in my framework, because I just observed the whole thing, and I could go back at 100 points
Yes,
and just turn and look 100% in at one frame and remember the whole thing, because I was slowing it down, speeding it up, but I could not react. So I said, this kid, meaning Rob, my brother, my brother Rob Banks, he finally is asking the question. we're there to explain the answer, and you out of all people. Now Paul is rarely, I don't even say there's like a 1% with her where she's not really on the money once in a blue moon, right? So watching this without reacting is making me wonder if this was all the higher people, like, okay, you shut your mouth 100%. To shut his mouth, we're going to put him in full mode. So my higher guy puts me, and then your higher girl,
because
I couldn't say,
never are.
no, I was like, but it was absorbing in a different way. It was like from my crown to my sacral was visually seeing it from all perspectives, not understanding it. I had no real understanding of what the hell was going on because I was like, what is happening? And I was able, so I told her, I pointed out the stuff with her because I was like, you're my partner. So when there's something wrong with you, I want to ask and understand what's going on, right? And then it got into the bullet noting of, okay, Rob, this, that, and the other thing. So Rob, there was something with Rob he didn't accomplish either. So my mother didn't accomplish something.
We didn't accomplish
You and
anything.
I didn't accomplish anything.
Right.
You on your own didn't accomplish
Yeah.
something,
And he didn't
and he
accomplish
didn't
anything.
accomplish anything. And my grandfather was sick, just sitting in the other room, right? So nobody got anything done, and
No.
it lasted the entire day.
Hmm.
And I gave up at like 6 o'clock on my own business, not with anyone else. Just nothing was working,
Right.
and I still couldn't react. See, I'm doing like that Forrest Gump shake because I was when I was watching, it was so intense, as if I was watching a movie, but I was running my own projector and pulling in information, and then it was coming back out, and there was this transfer of energy that it was like pulling in their stuff and not letting mine come out of the aura bubble. It
Right.
was stuck like, "Du-du-du-du-du-du-du," but then I kept taking in, and then later that unraveled like the movie reel, and I just played it back, and um, it was so interesting. It was really okay. So in those moments of that conversation
Hmm.
is when I said, "What is happening to me?" Not what the hell is going on here. That's
Yeah.
what I
What
used to
is
be.
causing you not to respond? Yeah.
What? Well, no, I felt um, higher than. Is that the right thing to say? Higher than frequency wise. Not I'm higher than you. It was literally
I'm gonna get the cat.
I'm uh I'm over here out of time watching in. And I kept telling her, I don't want a problem with you, so it's not a criticism of you. I'm going to tell you all this stuff up front, and you're going to let me talk, please. And then you're going to understand that everything I say to you has nothing to do with me judging you or getting aggressive towards you, but it's about you in certain areas. It's about me as well. And then I was saying, like, the fearless, it's us, right? Right. And we're to be the shining example. Now, mind you, I think we were being the shining example because what wound up happening was the next day, my mother was like, "Oh, you don't know what happened to me." And my brother was just being my brother. He was fine. And she tells me her story. And then, what's happening with Paula? I've never seen her like that before. And I was like, yeah, she kind of, whatever. It's all good. We're all allowed to. She goes, no, no, we were all talking about it, like never seen it. But that also bullet notes what she was saying to my brother,
Right.
which I I'm telling you, people, some of us are right on that. You're
Need a little
teetering
push.
because we get the depression and we fall down. Oh, it's not going to happen. Oh, we have a tendency in the entertainment industry to blame everyone else. Well, I could have gotten famous, but this
Right. Or
guy said he was going to manage me
you
and
talk
didn't, so
yourself
it didn't
out of
work.
it, out of stuff.
Right. So there is none of that no
Right.
more. Like I've been talking to my brother about this for since the internet came out. You're in charge of everything now. You have to be a salesman, a hip hop artist, the writer, producer, director. You got to be the
Thank you.
guy in the video. You got to be the guy behind the
Right. It's
camera.
all you.
You got to make the phone call. You got to. And he's like, well, I don't want to do that. And I'm like, well, people aren't going to poon over you because we find out later
It's gonna have to be
that the
you.
industry was fake. The whole thing is fake, right? So it's set up to be a certain way. This is
Right.
all going to come out. It's all been coming out for years. Um, there's a video of me and on down the rabbit hole, I think with Popeye, where I talk about all the music industry stuff. Like I
Hmm.
really get like I think it's like 2.5 hours of me just digging into the demonic aspects and the Satanism and the Luciferianism and what controls everything. I talked about all that there. So we get in there. We don't. know about that at first and get in there and then see all this stupid stuff going on. And we're like, I don't want nothing to do with this. Then we get here and we're like, I don't want nothing to do with this. But now as a creator, it's like, but it's you and it's the part of your process.
Right.
So why not? I
He
mean, you're
wants to
sitting in your
go
living
in,
room.
do this deal with other people. And I said, you don't need the other people to do the deal that you want to do. You can do what you want to do and you can invite them in once it's completed. Because getting five people to agree on one thing is going to be very difficult. And, if you're
And five
fighting
people in positions
of
the, of
authority,
authority.
no, you're never going to have a decision made.
If you need to
So
spend the money,
yeah, just do it on your
five
own
people,
and
you have to.
invite them.
You're gonna fight over $35. You made the best
Oh,
statement
I
the other
said,
day.
yeah. I said if there's $5 in the account, five people are going to want to do five different things with it. I said, so you're never going to get anywhere. So just let it be yours. Start it on your own and invite them in.
And if they come in, they come in. If they don't,
Yeah, if
it's
they
not
don't,
for
it's not for
them.
them.
And it coulda, woulda, shoulda. Well, I still want to be in a hip hop group with you.
Right, but it's not going to happen.
I'm sitting here
So
with Paula doing Fearless. I never even, this
exactly.
was not even on the radar ever.
No, it's funny that you should say that because since then we're over it. I mean, the next day I was with his family, everything's fine. But when we were talking about that today when we were Christmas shopping, what you just said. I can't believe how much my life has changed. I was clearly on one path right before I met you,
Yeah, this
and
is like
you
100%.
completely diverted my. It was like this. I just don't
Yeah,
understand. I just
everything
don't
was.
understand. Like I look at my life because everything now is before Frank. Like what happened before Frank? Like how many years has it been now?
Yeah, like a BCAD thing we
Yeah, I
have going
mean,
on. It's
Nan,
almost like that's what built us to the character that we've
yeah,
grown to love within each other. Now we're growing together, but
it's so
it's from
strange
when I met
though.
you
Exactly.
that this
But we were
all
talking about that today and
new.
how like my path was completely different. Like if I would have gone on my path, I would have been such a completely different person than I am now.
I would have been dead.
I don't think you would have been dead.
I
Your
no,
mother would not have let that happen.
if I didn't ayahuasca,
Oh no, without
I
Aya,
would have been
you would
dead.
you would have prescription pain pills,
Yeah, yeah.
something like
Just
that.
no, the
Yeah.
whole thing. I might have even just blown off the rail.
Is that her? All
There's
right, let me go
Gandalf.
get her. Let me go
The baby went out before and she just runs out head first. Yeah, so part of this upgrade process feels like downgrading sometimes. I feel like I die or I'm going to actually die. Right. And then I'm like, I'm going to live forever. And it's like, no, your spirit's immortal. Yes. But you got to take your body with you. And I'm like, why does this hurt so much? And they're like, well, you have to heal. Right. That's the easy way to say it. And you're like, oh, but it hurts. And it's like a sickness within a darkness, within a dark space. I'm over. Could you re-pour some coffee? Yeah, yeah. I'm overthinking, and I've been over this for a long time, and I kind of like it because I like the darkness. The darkness doesn't bother me. It's not darkness isn't good or evil. Just I've had light beings that are evil attack me, right? Where I've had things in the dark that look like the darkness come to my aid. So, you're the 50-50 split, and I've embraced that totally. It's just who does what, where, and what's your agenda. That's it, right? Because I sit perfectly right next to Kali when she sits on that bone throne. I'll go sit down there with her, and I've never felt more comfortable. And she's like, "You all right?" I'm like, "I feel great. I love you. I love me. I know all of this isn't really human skulls and whatever it is you're eating and drinking the blood and all that, that's metaphorical. I'm the energy master." And she's like, and this domain that you as the avatar come forward from the energy that they picture her with chopping heads and standing on Shiva and everything. That's just like the apocalypse. It's like the destruction of the old way to allow the new thing to come in. Like she's never harmed me in any way. I'll call her and now she's an aspect of me. So that's how I know I'm becoming them, just like Shiva. Shiva doesn't come to me anymore. He doesn't go, "Hey, look, it's me, Shiva." You know, that hasn't happened in a very long time. But what will happen is I'll hear him, and then it changes into my voice, and I'll say I'm Shiva because I'll call to him. Where are you? I got some problems here. And he's like, we're at this level, bro. You have to do it. And I'm like, oh, AI, you want tentacles? I got tentacles, and just tentacles will come out in the form of like the arms that start coming out like crazy. And then they'll just tentacle and grab the AI and start tearing it apart. I'm like, oh, is that what you want? Is this the reaction you want? Because I'm going to wipe the board with all of you. We're not here to play the game any here. I'm here to transmute this stuff, and I'm
Right.
becoming a master of this. So, the Kali works with certain things, the Shiva works with certain things, et cetera, et cetera. Like Osiris is you putting back all the parts to create the whole of
Right.
you. You're already whole, but you've been fractured into all these positions. So you're just pulling it all back. So you get your memory, you start changing. You just, okay, so we'll go back again.
Mhm.
I'm feeling the transformation even in the depression of it, which it's not a depression. I can't keep saying that enough, but it feels like a
It's an
what the
it's not a depression. It's like an overwhelming sadness. It's almost like you're mourning something.
this
Your
place
Is
sucks.
it your old self? Is it a timeline? Is it like I feel like everything's collapsing around me, and it's scary because you know I, I don't I don't feel the way Frank feels about the psychedelics. Like I discuss it all the time, and I say if I never did Aya again, I would be okay. But I did promise your mother that I would drink with her. She said when all is said and done, she wants to drink, and I said the day you drink, I will drink with you. So now I have to keep my word.
I'll drink with you too.
Right. So we can all drink together. But I will keep.
Unless well, IRL let me
Yeah.
know
No.
if I
Totally.
need to just be
Totally.
there.
But totally. But I think that something is definitely happening, and it's just
It's
I.
like if the fan of like the what are they, the Chinese fans, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's open, and now it's closing and becoming the one straight line, right? Like the peacock is bringing the feathers in
I
and
talked.
wrapping itself in its feathers now.
Look, that night that we had that horrible, horrible day, I had to meet my friend Nancy for dinner, and I discussed everything that happened, and I said I don't know what happened to me because I don't behave like that. I don't engage like that. And I never push my belief down anyone's throat. I never push anything down anyone's throat. And it was so out of character for me. And then I went into this whole thing about you and how much I love being with you. And I even told her I was thinking about marrying you. And then I said, like, I'm all over the board. Like, like, there was no reason to anything that and I said, I just got to get all this stuff out. And then I started crying. And she was like, why wouldn't you want to marry him? You're happier with him than I've ever seen you in any relationship in your entire life. And she couldn't come up with one reason why I shouldn't do it. I couldn't come up with one reason why I shouldn't do it, but I don't understand how the tables turned so quickly. Like that's not even where my head was, but I guess that's where we ended up going. But it was such a strange thing. I went from, and it was like, yeah, I had to get those words out, and I had to make him understand before I left. He needed to understand, and I don't know what that was. I still don't know what that was, but I just say, I am allowed to have a bad day, but I don't think it was for him because he said, I'm just trying to navigate through my life. Maybe he did hear a piece of it. Maybe he took what he needed. I
Oh
don't
no, see,
know.
we're in a so as that fan is closing, right? and coming together. The peacock is wrapping his feathers back around his body.
Mhm.
It's so we can fit through that hole we talk about all the time, right? You can't take it with you. So as you go into the, I gotta do it with this hand. Wear this, right? Now you come into X marks the spot on the
Mhm.
infinite loop. As you go in here, as you go out around the loop one way, you collect all this stuff, and then you go back into the loop through the X portal, and it shrinks everything back down, and you become everything that you went and experienced. You are already that, but you went and you had those experiences. Then it comes back to the one, and then you're back
Right.
up on the upswing
I
in
get
something
that.
that's
I
brand
get that.
new as this new being, but it's always you, just with more experience.
Well, that's what I think had happened to me, because I was explaining to her. I said, I've done the work to shrink my ego. I've donated, given away, or thrown out most of my belongings. I've decided that, we are going to care for this colony of animals, and,
And there's requirements
to make all that happen.
in your personal life.
And it's a big sacrifice of your personal time. People are like, well, you don't work, why don't you volunteer? And it's like, every day I
It's all we do.
volunteer, but they don't get
I
it.
don't have to volunteer because I take care of a colony.
Right.
This is the point.
So
Some people help people, some people help animals, some people help both.
I was like, do I have to lose everything? And, like, really, like, haven't I
Ejected
given
enough.
enough of myself? And that's what I believe. We don't have to sacrifice. So why am I sacrificing this?
It's
Let
not
me just say what I
cleaning
need to
up
say.
isn't a sacrifice.
Yeah,
It's
it's
good
like,
for
come
you.
on.
You want to clean out the closet, then you got to clean out the closet. Right? You're not wearing those clothes no more. The
We did
bands on
it.
them are falling apart.
We did it. What did we say? Get rid of it. Get rid
I
of it.
went and
Get rid
found
of
my
it.
awesome goggles that I had for the photo shoot 20 years ago with Shure microphone and everything. And I'm like, I'm thinking in my head, like, that's from forever ago, but they're brand new. I took them, put them away, never used them because I used them in the photo shoot and I should have just used them because they were
So
awesome.
you took them. You brought them home now,
No,
right?
those are the new ones
Oh,
that I
those are
got
the
a
new
few
ones.
years
Okay.
ago that were put right next to them. I said, no, I'm taking these and using them because the one I loved completely fell apart. And I was like, and I never got a chance to use them.
Right.
And I'm not keeping it there. I threw it in the, my mother was like, you're not keeping that? I'm like, no, it's all here. I'm good.
Right.
It's just more crap in the house. Are you going to ever use it? No. What are you going to hang it on the wall? I'm 15 years old. We're going to put up posters again. It's already rough enough. I already get made fun of enough for that stuff. Like I don't need the extra, if it's done, it's done. I can't pass it on to someone, right? It's no good. It's out. Don't need it. What are you saving newspapers for? Right? That's all I'm saying. Because you are that already. I got it all. When someone's like, "Oh, you're not holding up your camera at the concert?" No, I'm having a good time.
I'm enjoying the moment.
I want to
Yeah.
watch the
I'm
show.
watching the moment.
Well, don't you
Yeah.
want pictures? Why? So I could go home and watch it?
Right. I'm
What do you
in the
think I paid
moment.
$100 to get in here for? It's ridiculous. Ridiculous.
That's how I feel. I think it was just truth. So I spoke it, and now I'm done. And we had a great day today. I'm just tired. Like, it was
No,
just
no,
a
it's
long
energy
day.
draining
It was, but it
to
was a
work
good
on the
day.
higher frequency. But here's another point. So we are two sides of the infinite loop.
Hmm.
So I was in observation mode, and you were in mode. You were like in a high frequency.
Oh, I was crazy. Yeah.
Right. So it was like, whoa, it was almost like a grounding,
Hmm.
and then letting the kite fly, and then being able to pull the kite back in and be like, well, kite, that was a good day, but maybe the wind was a little too much and we flew you a little off to the wrong side or whatever. Or like pitching a sail when you go out sailing and be like, well, next time I'll go against the current this way. But this was like a perfect line, but it kind of drew that line just, well, I don't know if it kind of went over, but I wrote it, man.
No, you know what it is?
Top speed,
I really think that
optimum
when that
timeline stuff.
happens, I think that spirit speaking through me. And I think if I understand that a message has to get out, it's going to get out. And I don't want to stifle it anymore. Otherwise, I'm just Frank's girlfriend. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we can't
Doesn't
reside to
have a
that
real opinion.
anymore.
And I think I'm just done. And I love Rob. I knew Rob before I met you.
No, I know.
And I just his life could be so much easier if he just practiced one or two things that we talk about, and he doesn't realize he doesn't have to sacrifice and be miserable all the time in order to get something he wants. It doesn't have to be that way. When you say, why don't you get mad because cats throw up? Because they're going to do it again.
They're gonna
And
throw
but
up,
now you look
and
at
it's
it
just
that
the
way
way it
too, but you
goes.
don't get upset anymore about it. Isn't it great? You don't get upset.
No, there's
What are you
no.
going to do?
All right, so this is what I'm saying. So as I feel down and heavy, and I feel fat today and bloated and weird,
Yeah,
and
but you look great. You don't look
so
fat.
yesterday I had a nosebleed while I was going to the bathroom, and I was throwing up. Like there's all kinds of weird stuff.
You
I
were
couldn't
purging.
breathe right. Look, through all of it, where you're like, man, I'm not getting an inch going. I was sitting in the observation deck, like, what? And totally like freaked out by it, but there's nothing you could do about it. You just can't. You feel like the universe won't allow you to say the word or get involved.
Well, you're
Everybody experiences it
you
different.
got to say what you got to say. Even to me, like I appreciated the talk we had,
Oh no, it was a great talk
because
without
we
any.
resolved one or two issues and it was done. The
Yeah, yeah,
truth
there
the
was,
truth hurts. You get your feelings hurt, you get over it.
but it
You
also
know,
wasn't an attack. It was an
it was
observation of
no,
the
it was an
whole
observation,
thing.
but what I'm saying is when people keep lying to each other and no one really says what they want to say, that's when it just spirals out of control and then it becomes this thing that you can't even give it a name. It just becomes this thing because now you've been polite. The two of you have been so polite, no one really wants to talk about the issue. Talk about it, your feelings get hurt, you get over it, and you move on. And you
Right.
try not to do that again.
See, and that is done sometimes perfect. Like I'm. It's almost like when you're quiet enough or you're in the zone.
When you're quiet enough
Well,
because
maybe it's
you
just when you're
stop
in
talk.
the zone,
Yeah.
and the zone could be anything because it could be what I was doing or what you were doing. That's Parker. Would you be kind?
Cat
So the
watching.
so it wouldn't matter. You're just the zone frequency. I hate that this reverse stuff. So the zone frequency would be here. It'd be like all of this, right? And then you're like on this end observing, but you're in the zone. And then you're over here in action, but it's like you're channeling. You don't understand it just as much as you don't understand on the other side. Whoa, coming in hot. So, hi, baby. Flow state. So it could run. Thank you, Kevin. KG in the house. Shout outs to my brother. So, it works in all of that realm. Okay, so what I'm noticing is there's not a high emotional output in some of these areas. Actually, oh, you're the best.
Give me that.
Take. So the whole time you're actually in observation mode in one way or another, or a state of submission. Because I felt like I couldn't move myself to do anything, but yet it was me holding me from doing it. And I'm like, there's a million times you could have did that for me and hooked the brother up, and you didn't. And it's like, no, I always do, and you're just not listening. And I'm like, oh, that's definitely me. That's definitely me. Like I know me, right? But I felt when I did Solaris's show last weekend with Paula. Shout outs to Solaris Blue Raven, the midnight hour, witching hour. That I'll post when she posts the link to the show. I'll put it up. She was like, I didn't want to interrupt you. It was the fantastic conversation we had. You were just flowing, and I'm like, I feel like I'm channeling when I'm ranting sometimes. And I didn't realize I ranted for like 30 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, right? Like Gandalf the Grey. So it's interesting what's happening. So the flow state
Hey, baby.
is activated, and then you submit and get into the flow state, and it's activated, and you stay not in awe, because I used to do that too. I used to psych myself out, especially in sports sometimes. It's like making the catch in your mind and then celebrating before you make the catch physically, right?
Yeah, celebrating the win before it
I'm running.
happens.
Yeah, I'm running. I'm under the ball. I got it in my mind's eye. I caught it behind my back and
Hmm.
I'm celebrating. Man, I'm
Yeah.
the best here. And then blip, it hits me in the head and I'm
Yep.
out right on the field. And they're like, what the hell happened to this guy? Don't put the cart before the horse, right? And relax and take the deep breath. What do you do for the people that shoot uh, rifles or handguns or archery, or they throw stuff for distance? There's this breathing thing that happens at the top and the bottom, right? You got to breathe out so you don't pull the trigger, like you know, because you'll jerk the gun the wrong way. I had that problem.
What's your diaphragm? If you breathe from your diaphragm, you have to breathe in when you pull, and you release. You breathe out when you release, or something like that.
That's how I learned how to do it as an archery person. It just puts you into the state of submission, because at one point you just got to do it, right? And it doesn't matter what you think, what I think, what she thinks, what you think about you, what you have to get at the store, and what you have to do for the cat and this and that. It's time to go live, right? We got to go live, right? The button gets pressed and you go.
Right.
Roxy. And it's beautiful when you could submit to yourself in that, and then ride it like a wave without being in awe of the moment that it starts happening. Oh, look at me, I'm so great, I'm in the flow state. Nah,
I I think
just be in it.
I think all of these moments are happening so much. They're happening so quickly now and so often now that, like your flow state. I feel like we're in it, and we like being in it, and we vibe when we're in it, and then when we're not in it, we realize we're not in it, and it's a struggle to try to get back
It's
in.
almost
And
like you try to grab and grab to get back.
sometimes you just can't be in it. It
You're building to a crescendo
it's
of sorts.
momentum, and if you lose momentum, you have to build it up again. And I like that state, but we can't stay there all the time.
So channeling as well. So I met Abraham, something I wanted to tell you. Abraham,
Oh, Esther
Esther
Hicks's
Hicks's
Abraham. You
Abraham,
you said that he explained some stuff
right?
too.
So this evening, before I do my show, I do a little greetings, and I went outside and I was talking about,
This
thank
just
you, it's
happened
almost
now.
time. I want the frequency. No, outside before the show, like an hour before, and he said, "You ready to channel me?" And I said, "Nah, yeah, I guess if it's correct, I guess." And he goes, "Nah, you're not feeling it, huh?" And I said, and he goes, "Nah, you're not answering
Did he
me."
say listen to Paula?
No, no, no. There was no. It was strictly, you're not in the flow state. You're not getting it. Like you're feeling separated from the idea that you would want to do something like this. You're not that
Yes.
involved. Like you're feeling like self-doubt, like, oh, you want me to channel Abraham
You
live on
broke it though
air?
the other night when we were
But I
talking
could hear
about
them just talking. So for me, I just talk to
yeah.
them.
You let it in the other night. You were in that flow state the other night when you were talking about different streams of revenue, and how things can be possible. And you said, oh, it could be possible this way, this way, this way, and this way, and don't forget about that, and don't forget about this. And I said, see, you're in that state where you think anything is possible. And you were like, yeah, well, if we do it this way, this way, this way.
Because I've been putting it's like putting my abundance closet together. I
Right,
got towels, I got
right,
gloves, I got hair products, I got
right.
beard products, I got
But you get it
deodorant.
now how it can be.
Like I built it
It's easier than you thought it could be, but you did. You built it.
now.
Yes,
But
because you
then it was
put every. See, she's agreeing with me. She only agrees when it's the truth.
she
She tell her she does it all the time.
she smacked Gandalf.
Only.
Yeah,
Oh,
she only goes off when the truth drops for sure.
but you were in that state, so you understand. Like, we apply that to everything. You don't just apply it to one thing. You apply it to a parking space and a job interview and a grocery bill and paying your bills at the end of the month on time, and you apply it to everything. And you know we put these limitations on how things can come to us, and it's totally not that way. And Frank was in a state of that the other night, and it was so refreshing for me because he kind of, for the first time, showed me that he understands what I mean when I say you have to feel it before you have it, because it's not the having of it, it's the feeling of it. If you don't appreciate what you have now, you can't expect more to come, because you've already closed off your appreciation, you've already closed off your receiving of that thing. And that's a beautiful thing. Loving what you already have so that more can come in. And that's, Frank was living in that state, and it was really great because he proved it himself. He proved it to himself. It wasn't Paula just
I
saying,
didn't
just
even
listen to
notice
me.
it because I was in the zone. I was just
Yes.
talking, but when I
Yes.
realized
Yes.
what I was the topic I was covering,
Mm-hmm.
it was like, well, it's almost like having 100% security because you went and got everything that you would need under
Yes.
the guise of keeping yourself uh future protected. It was just really cool.
Yes.
And then yeah, you were getting excited. You're like, yeah, man, yeah,
Possibilities. Sometimes
it
we
was
shut
as if
ourselves
the
down,
walls
and
in front of
yes,
us, in front of me as I was
yes,
talking, just went, and I was like, no, none of these obstacles. It's this, and this, and that's the truth. Everything else is self-imposed. I don't know if I can do it. I don't think I can.
will it to be
Da da da
so.
da 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 da
It's
da
not
da da.
written. It changes all the time.
Or no, you guys don't get it. I grounded
Right,
in. I took my breath. Guess what? This, and this, and this, and that's what it is because I made it that way. I
right.
created it to be that
But
way.
you started that creation years ago, and you didn't even realize
Momentum,
it's momentum, and you get it now.
10% a week in everything, and that 10% is just a minimum to be reached.
But it's great. Like your mom said to me today, the reason she hasn't gotten, she wants to get a dog. She's been wanting a dog for a while. Somehow the kids got, I think your brother probably mentioned that she was going to get a dog, and they thought she was going to get a dog immediately. And she says she wants to travel. And I said, then you should absolutely do what you want to do when you're able to do it. And she says, that's why I haven't gotten a dog yet. And I said, that makes perfect sense, because in your travels, you may pick a place you want to stay longer than other places, and that's your prerogative to do so. You travel, you live, to go live your life. You don't need to be tied down with an animal. It's not like we can take a dog, I mean, we can't have a, she wants a big dog. She doesn't want a little dog. And I thought that was like the smartest thing, because she had been saying so many things that contradicted what she said the day before, because she's crazed right now. She's trying to mourn. Pop is sick. There's a lot going on
And
right now.
everyone I noticed this in my observation, is aware of all of this and going, it's all right. It's okay,
Right.
without taking a blame like, oh, look what you're doing. I'm
But
never
that was
coming here again to see you
probably
because you're a real.
but
It's like,
that
no,
was
no,
the
no, no, no.
smartest
I
thing she
love you. I get it.
said.
I'll see you later.
And I knew she was going to be okay, because she was like, no, a dog right now is not a good idea.
No, because then it comes into that.
right, then she's tied
That
down
weird
again. Yes.
frequency.
And yes, and it's a weird frequency, and
It's
you
another
know,
thing
I'm
to take
glad,
care of
you know, and right now she doesn't need another thing to take care of, you
because
know.
she's in the midst of taking care of someone already.
Right. And she doesn't need another thing to do. And I thought that was pretty smart, you know, and I think I was feeling, it was almost like I was feeling, I don't know what I was feeling, honestly. I still don't
Right?
know
In the
what I
flow
was
state,
feeling.
it's
I
hard to
really don't
grip the
know.
emotional output because you're behind it.
Yeah, yeah, it's
There's no
weird.
emotion. It's there, but you're not connecting to it. You're like, stay over there for a second. I
Hmm.
need to see this. And then you kind of come back in and it refilters back in.
Yeah, I mean, I feel more like myself now, and I know
But
everyone
maybe
else
that's
around
the
us
true
has.
self. It comes out sharp at first, like you're trying to punch a hole through a piece of paper. But once the hole is in the paper, you can start just sliding it open.
Oh, absolutely,
Even if you just
absolutely,
tear it, it'll
absolutely.
slide tear like,
No,
and
I feel good today. Like we ran errands. I got some stuff done I had to get done for Christmas, and that was pretty good.
to think we're not going to act like a bunch of sandy buttholes because we're just floating on light is just a bunch of BS within itself. It's the hardest process ever. This is difficult.
It is, but when you allow things to happen, they happen, and then they can't
Yes.
unhappen. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah, you're not falling
Once
down to the bottom of the
once
mountain.
you've accepted something and you're on the receiving end of it, and you believe that you're worthy of it, and you receive it, and you realize this is a result of you thinking differently about something that you've thought of one way your whole life, and now you've allowed yourself to think differently about it, and now you've received a different outcome. That's the beauty in it. Now you've received it, and you've proven to yourself that it can be so. You can't go back from that. You can't go the opposite way. You can, but that would be
It won't
foolish.
feel right. It'll feel
You
like you're in
have
a
to
river running up the
you
river
have to prove
stream.
something else to yourself that can be so. And they're, like, I call them little miracles. Like when they happen, like when Frank had that epiphany, I was like, oh wow, I never thought of it that way. We're closer to some goals than we thought we were. Where a week ago, a month ago, 6 months ago, it seemed like a desperate situation. Now it's like, oh,
It's not so
okay,
desperate.
not so desperate anymore.
It's not even
Okay,
really close to desperate.
we could live with that.
It actually flipped opposite
I
of
know
desperate. It
that
was like, oh,
because the thought changed, the thought process changed.
if you came, we talk about fear or love. It's a one or a
Hmm.
zero, and if you
Yeah,
pick the love, all the things connected to it arrive through
like
that
little
process.
ripples.
If you go with
Hmm.
fear, ripples of fear hit you and doubt and all kinds of stuff. So we chose love
Hmm.
and have put effort and whatever we needed to towards this specific stuff, and then it's been building the whole time, but it's like it arrived and all of a sudden that whole stress just went, well, not really.
Right,
And then boom, no
right,
stress. And
right,
you're like, well, what if, no, I'm not
right.
even gonna, why would you, no, I'm pretty good, actually everything's great,
Uh huh.
can't really complain. I wish I
Right.
wasn't feeling sickly. And they're like,
Hmm.
dude, you're transforming. It's not like you're a fruitarian and eating raw fruit all day. You're a meat eater. You eat a lot of bread. You're a little overweight. You got this going on, that going on, this going on, but you're doing it. Your will to do it is
Yeah.
doing it. But then that process is going to be, if you don't start drinking more water, it's going to hurt in certain areas. And in other areas, are going to dry up and you're going to get headaches. And
Hmm.
then that's just what happens. Right. And then you apply the certain things you need to alchemize your body and regenerate and everything and then revitalize. Boom, you start to come back online and you're like, oh, that's not bad.
Right. Not bad.
Not bad at all. So we have a question. It's all right. Let's see. It's just back over here 1 second. If you boil Coca-Cola in a pot, what is left behind at the bottom of the pot is black, gooey, sticky slime. Do you think it is the same as the AI black goo? Would you like me to answer that one since you're a Pepsi person? Well, she doesn't drink Pepsi. She just used to work for them. um, no, but it looks like that, and I wouldn't be surprised if you looked in on just Coca Cola itself. You will find all different kinds of things in there, and the black goo isn't like on the spiritual side, someone will touch you or someone else touch you here, and then you'll feel
Residue,
the
yeah.
residue, the stickiness, and you're like, where'd that come from? And it kind of does the venom thing to you. But when what I've seen is with the AI black goo type stuff, you're collecting nano in the air and the atmosphere, and then you're holding in anger and
Yeah, it's metals in the air too.
yeah, it's metals in the air, and then you get emotional about certain things, and the metal's finding the other metal and connecting, creating a hardwiring system or an antenna in your body. And as you start to pull in, let's say it goes to your lower chakra, and then you start pulling in, oh, I'm jealous of this one, and why is he getting ahead, and why this that, and that emotional stuff that you're collecting and holding on to starts to generate this black substance. It's almost like as if it comes out of the ether due to your emotional output and keeping it here, and it turns into this black, cloggy, drainy, drippy, nasty stuff. I've also seen them just house it on the other side where it just floats, and you can walk by it and say something nasty to it, and it'll grow bigger. And
That's
if
what
you
happens.
say something nicer to it, it kind of shrinks back down, like it won't interact with you. But the more you interact with it, the bigger it'll get, depending on your emotional output towards it, and it'll keep reacting to you. So if you're like, if it'll say, "Hey, buddy," and you're like, "Hey, what are you looking at?" Because it's black goo right away, you want to punch it. Get out of here! I'll punch you in your face. It's like, "Oh, okay, you want to fight?" And it gets 10 times bigger,
Right.
and it's just
Because it
in your
feeds off
face,
the fear.
and
Yeah.
it's like,
And the
I
anger.
do want to
Yeah.
fight. I want to fight you right now. I want to eat your children. And
Right.
then when you go, it gets 10 times bigger.
Because you fed it what it needed, and it needed your fear.
Right? So it'll just keep growing until someone smacks you and you go, oh, no, I'm not scared. Boom. And it all goes back to just floating right there. But why not? Why wouldn't there be pools of synthetic black goo that come off of meteorites sent into things, and then them tapping into that substance and knowing what it is, and then creating it since it's synthetic, mixing it with certain elements in this realm, and then putting it in your food? I mean, people are like, well, the babies that are in the products, there are not babies in the products. It's like the cell from a fetus from like 1985 cloned over and over again. What? Same thing. No, I know. As we push through all this nonsense, it's good to know that when I fall back, I'm not tumbling down a mountain any longer. No, I just feel
you can't go back to where
so
you were in
good.
the beginning. You only go back as far as you fell yesterday or 5 minutes ago.
Right.
That's how it works.
So a little faith and removal of the fear of not thinking you're successful or some reason.
Right. And when you fall, you just go back to that point and then you try again. Okay? Because everyone falls and everyone has those horrible thoughts and everyone says those horrible things. And so you stumble and then you get back up and you start right from where you are.
Yeah.
And it's as easy as that. You don't go back from the beginning.
Because your feelings.
Once you have these changes, you can't go back because you've proved it. You've proved it works.
It's
You've
almost
done
like
small things to prove it.
We call them checkpoints, right?
Yeah.
We hit them and never have to go back.
Yeah, and you science it and you see if it works. Trust me. Just trust me. Like I tell Frank, I beg.
That's a hard one though, because
it is a hard one.
Everyone says
you can do it. You can do it with small
It's like saying I love you. Everyone says it, and then when people break up terribly or they do something wrong to each other, it's like, I thought you loved me.
But I didn't,
right? So
I
the
didn't
word
say I respected you.
I'm just saying that word causes people to go, yeah, I love you, and they're not really putting as much love because
of course
it's not unconditional.
Of course it
does
because you put conditions on it. Yeah,
right. Because
you,
my last girlfriend did this to me,
yeah,
so
I love you,
but no, I'm not going to come pick you up at 12 to take you for White Castle. No. You should be picking me up and taking me to White Castle. Like, just, you know what I'm saying?
I do know what you're saying.
Well, I'm from the Bronx. That's one of my things. You know what I'm saying?
I do know what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying, Mo?
It's a South Park thing. Do you know what I'm saying?
So South Park dealing with clones in the music industry and everything else.
Money. It's on the money. Anyway,
It's all there.
what do you want to talk about now?
Just brought up cloning. All right, so they were trying to get clones, or they were bringing in the hologram of the dead artist because they were worth more money. And then the cops were talking about how they were choking out black people. And then people were yelling at them, going, "You're racist."
You
And the
can't do
cops were
that.
trying to
Yeah.
just be worse. But as they were talking about choking Michael Jackson to death,
Oh, it was a South Park
right?
episode.
But
Yeah.
then his hologram came to life, right? And all right, listen, it's all right
It's all right
there.
there.
And you say to yourself, wow, so these dudes are just telling you you're worth more dead than alive.
It's sprinkled into
And then they were trying to clone
everything. And
stuff
if you just look at
so they
it
could control
a
the artists in
different
the industry.
way, you will see it and you'll go, "Oh yeah, I see it."
Yeah, I do want to talk about something. I'm sorry, I'm pushing you again. Check this out. So this has nothing to do with politics, but everything to do with I was talking to Paul about this week, and I know this isn't recent,
Hmm.
but I'm not up on artifacts in the world, like,
At all.
at all. Like, I don't really think. I mean, what do we got? We got the pyramids, and we got some ankhs and some other staffs and all kinds of stuff. But does it really have power to it? Right.
Right.
So then you have objects like Excalibur, or
The sword
the
Excalibur.
sword
Go ahead. Go
Excalibur,
ahead. Bring it
or
home. Because when you told me this, it was very interesting.
what's the other one? Uh,
The Ark of the
the Ark
Covenant.
of the Covenant's another one, but it's unknown to me whether this stuff is real or not. But in 2016, when Trump got into office,
Uh-huh.
they awarded him with Excalibur,
Right.
right? And now you have a whole bunch of other things falling into place. And then you wonder, what's the story behind these weapons, right? So it's almost like Thor with his hammer,
Right.
right? To pull the sword from the stone is the same as lifting the hammer. You're just worthy.
Right. You have to be worthy. Yeah.
And it
I
doesn't
get it.
matter if you're good or bad. It just matters if you're worthy. It's if you believe your cause is just, right, and righteous. Now, this borders that weird stuff, but can an object be in the possession and grant literal um, you the inability to be attacked spiritually, or if the attacks come in, it just doesn't work. And then as
Oh
you
yeah.
use the weapon back, because it's not only for protection, it's for obviously swinging because it's a sword, but it's metaphorical, but it's also not.
Literal.
It's
Yeah.
also
It's all
literal.
literal. Yeah.
So that in the possession of the sword is king. Not king. That's the wrong. It's like, gosh, the language is going to escape me now. Victory, success would be a better word. Instead of saying king, it would be successful in whatever endeavor you take on,
Hmm.
right? So they talk about the Ark of the Covenant moving like a certain direction, and then every so many years it goes into another country.
Right.
This
Right.
is all hearsay as far as I'm
Right.
concerned,
Uh-huh.
because I never thought any of that was real. I never gave
Right.
it any whatever. But what if it's a tech
Oh,
or
I
an
think there are
overlay
artifacts all over the world like
or
that.
something that is
Yeah.
actually
Uh-huh.
in the
Like, didn't you
object
say something about a Stargate?
with the one of the now naturally this is just statements from my ayahuasca trips, and
Hmm.
then what has been out there, that when the Iraq war started, they went for the museums, because
Right.
under the museums they had the stargates and they were hiding stuff just like our museums do. They don't let you see the giants even though they have them, and then they go and destroy them. They destroy the evidence of your birthright information, so you don't get worked up, and it's a certain directive is all you're being allowed to see. But the sword of truth would cut right through that, right? And it's like, what's happening now? It's like, how can you actually, because it's not him, it's not Trump, but he's the DNA activation, right?
Hmm.
So he's the guy that can lift the sword, but the sword is like a representation of those around him,
Right.
right?
Hmm.
Like the energy of those around him. And then both, it's a spiritual technology. So on a higher level, it's those that have put their energy into it. They can focus on maybe an object while it's being in use, imbuing all of that energy into the movement. of whatever it's going to be. So if you were fighting in the street, it would be a sword fight. If you were trying to take out pedophile deep state members, it would go into detailed layers of
A
ways of
plan that
being
would be
10 steps ahead
executed.
of them.
Yes.
And
Hmm.
just you, it would appear that you're just smiling the whole time,
Right.
and everyone else would be hanging themselves.
Right.
Or is this just all bullshit and it's just a big play? But
Don't know.
I don't know. But there's so many of these objects throughout history and different artifacts of all different kinds that do different things, just like the crystal skulls. When
Absolutely. But think about all the artifacts we have in this apartment to keep us
that's
safe
what
or
I'm
to keep
saying.
it
Like,
clear or,
and
you know.
what is so shout outs to Rihanna. This is one of my wands, right? So what is the wand doing? It's charged with sunlight and my energy. And then if I need to run all the current energy I feel like is coming into the top of my head that I'm bringing in maybe to resolve a conflict, let's say a demon, and I'm like bibbity bobbity boo, boom, and I push all that energy straight through it, and it becomes like a surgical
Yes.
strike
Because you believe it so.
because I believe it
It's
so. Okay, and it has all the elements that are necessary. Um, Throughout history that talks about things working with the human technology alongside the technology such as crystals,
Well, everything here came out of nature.
animals. That's what I'm saying. The
Yeah.
animals, even the tie,
Everything
the
was a
wood,
contribution from nature.
right? There's etchings all over the
Hmm.
wood, right? So that's implies intent and usage. Okay, until you realize, and this is amazing and it works because we get on the downslope. Sometimes you need to remind yourself. And then when you're on the upswing, I just look at you with my intent, and it does the exact same thing as if it's coming from my eyes.
Right. Or your finger.
They
Hmm.
talk about in Indian lore, Shiva and them just being able to look at you and burning you like Superman, right? And then what's Superman? Superman is the El, right? The
Hmm.
Elohim. So these guys are all just ET factions um, from different places.
Oh.
They're all conglomerating and coming to whoever needs it, to the individual who's rocking whatever they need to rock at that time,
Right.
so we can become this, right? Become the amplifier and the surgical tool.
Oh, thank you, Cowboy Chris.
Cowboy Chris, Merry Christmas. Thank you so
For
much.
my yes, money for our colony, Friskies.
Thank you so much. We love you. Now sending you positive vibes. So I have Ra gave me some tensile tools of his that have the copper and the
Oh
spiral,
yeah,
hyper
that worked
powerful. I don't even
immediately.
I
It
put
was
that.
supercharged.
I went outside to the moon and was holding it's like a disc thing, and I was holding it up, and it had the spirals in it, and in the center there was a spiral, and then the light from the moon. It took me a minute because I shake my handshakes, and then boom, it hit me,
Hmm.
and I was like into just instead of seeing all the circles and spirals, I was like right up the middle, and then the light from the moon hit me, and it was like making a hyper connection, and I'm like, whoa! I just keep that in my pocket, right? And then if I need that, I can just hold it in my hand, or I could just press it against my
I
leg.
pressed it up against you. It heated up immediately. Remember?
Yes, that was. So we have the ability to do these things. We're just becoming masters of it, and it's step by step.
Yep.
Momentum, 10% a week. Even if you put 1% in. All right, here's another thing. So if we're at 4% awareness, right? If you hit 5%, that's pretty intense, right?
That's a lot. Like that. What was that
That's
movie,
a lot.
Lucy? Like it 10%. Her brain was gonna explode.
Yeah.
Something like that. That's crazy.
And then eventually she just becomes like breaking down within the
Yeah,
matrix. You
yeah.
can just shapeshift into whatever you need to shape. She was like, I need to become a hypercomputer to do this, and then it
I
appears
know.
as the black goo
I
becoming the
know. I
black
just want to believe
crystal.
what I read.
But those were just, I don't know what's past terabytes of information, but picture like 10 times past that is what she becomes in that movie, which is synthetic. She put synthetic drugs in her and they broke. It was the whole synthetic of it, activating it that way through the drug, the limitless drug. I pop the pill,
No,
pop
I
the
think
pill.
it was that
I'm
her
on a
consciousness couldn't handle that much knowledge.
no, well, I'm saying the push came through the synthetic. So it's
Oh,
like
yeah, yeah,
taking
yeah, yeah.
LSD instead of taking mushrooms.
Right.
Right, you're going in on the synthetic route, which is it's fine, it works. But then she became a living supercomputer, and her consciousness is doing all this cool stuff. I'll wear the robe and just do that. I'll just open portals with my mind and walk through walls and all that stuff. I'm cool with just doing that. I don't want to take the synthetic route at any time. Although there's nothing wrong. It's not like good or bad until you decide to like allow things into you that um it's like not reading the fine print and then
Hmm.
letting something into you. Like it's all right having a bionic arm, but if the AI can make an interface with you and take over you and use your bionic arm to choke you out, like that's a no bueno move, right? So you don't want that to be able to occur. So you can get to that level and
Right.
not have that interference as well. So there's ways to do this. It's not one way or the highway. We're just being shown certain timelines or the way it could be. It could go lizard men take over and come from outer space. It could go back to like, oh, we just go to war, everybody kills
Right.
each other. We go back to the Stone Age, or it could be this, and it just turns into that. Oh, it could have been Tesla. Oh, why can't it still be? Why can't it just be awesome? All awesome. Period. No Terminator robots. No reptiles that eat babies. No, we don't accept it. We don't accept your top 10. Who made this list? I didn't get asked about it. I don't like any of those choices. And why am I choosing with you? Who are you? And who are these things you're telling me? And why look, just read Amazon reviews all day and eventually you'll realize a whole bunch of them are fake reviews just to get them 5 stars. You'll get in there and realize that there's like you're like, it can't be 5 stars or 4.5 stars if it has 36% 1 star reviews, but it still looks as if it has
Hmm.
4.2. Like it's lying to you on every little
Level. Yeah.
level to shave something away from you, to distract you, to get you to focus just on what they want you to see.
Oh, wow. It's called a petabyte?
A petabyte. Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. So, damn. Yeah. That's a lot. Think about that. That 1 petabyte being a billion petabytes or whatever the next thing up is, and you're in that stuff. It's completely foreign at this point, right? The way a terabyte was 20 years ago. Oh, what's a terabyte? Can you describe? No, so we don't know. We're in our 40s. We're like, oh, it's terabytes, the new thing you put on there, and then there's a lot of information. It'll hold a lot of videos. I'm not snapping on you. It's me too, right? Well, what about 2 terabytes? Well, that's 2 times more, right? But we're dealing with stuff that's like out there. Well, it's another level. Like if I said to you, yo, we got 63
It does.
billion trillion dollars, you'd be like, what? Like at what point are you just cutting off like, oh, we got a
We're good.
million, we're
We're good.
good, right? Like the number just warps your mind. We're the mind warping probability of consciousness coming in here. And I want to do that all organically, right? You can use synthetics to help bridge
I
gaps.
wasn't talking about synthetics. I was just talking
I'm
about the
just making
movie. No, I'm
conversation. Do
saying I don't agree with synthetics either. I'm just saying,
you want to wrestle?
not now,
You sure?
later. Oh,
If you're not watching The Mandalorian, you're missing something, by the
oh,
way.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Do you want to talk about that?
No, well, we can mention it. Okay, yeah, let's talk. So let's not get into the hyper Star Wars nerd conversation, but
I can't because I don't know.
how about they are, and no spoilers, but it's back to each episode has different ETs,
Yes.
and each ET is equipped to do certain things, and other ETs do certain other things,
Yes.
and they're known for things. Then you have your robots, your androids, your
Mm-hmm.
AIs,
A little bit of everything.
Terminator robot type things,
Yes.
spaceships, starships,
Correct.
Death Stars.
Yep.
Okay, it's all there. All the info's there. When you watch that and you see Baby Yoda, which is the new big thing, and the character's awesome. I love Baby Yoda more than I like all of them. It's just really cool. But what is Baby Yoda?
We don't know.
No, no. But what is Baby Yoda? We know that Yoda is a what's Yoda? Regular Yoda. What is he?
Oh,
You look at him physically.
he's a.
A reptilian.
Do you think he's a reptilian?
Yoda, no, he's a reptile. Yoda is literally a reptile being. They just don't know.
What kind?
Yeah, but he's reptilian. He's a green reptile
Okay.
from the swamp
I
planet.
didn't. I didn't.
Okay, it doesn't matter, right? But you got the green kid with the ears. He's got
Okay.
some scales, so you're like, oh, he can move stuff in his mind. You're like,
Okay.
okay, you got a guy in battle armor, the way every man since seeing Boba Fett on Star Wars has ever wanted to dress, right? And the guy is doing all kinds of cool stuff. And what does he do? He has a robot that comes in with him that clears out areas, right? And you start going, oh, what is it? And you get comfortable with being
Right.
like
Shown
the
these
third or
things.
fourth
Yes.
guy
You
in the
get
room.
comfortable with seeing these things. Yes. Well, John Favreau, he's amazing.
And then you're like, well, Favreau, he's awesome,
Yeah.
right? And then you're watching the movie going, well, Favreau's awesome. So then you see
Yeah. Yeah. I can handle
the
this.
droid
Okay. Yeah. You
serving
get comfortable
drinks.
with it. Yeah.
We don't serve your kind here, right? Like that. You see that and you go, oh man, they're mixing it in hard, and we're just.
Sprinkling it.
But Star Wars was the one that did it for me in the '70s when I saw the original movie and then drank ayahuasca. They put me in a room with all these ETs. It was like the lights came on. I talked about it on one of the shows. And then I was like, it's like being in the Star Wars cantina from the first movie where you
Mm-hmm.
just look around. It's like, I don't like you, and my friend don't like you either. And they're like, "Rah, rah," and then you see the hammerhead guy, and then you look over, there's the dude with the horns, and then the guy's playing the flute, and it's the gray alien, but he's a little beige, and they're taller and they're playing all the instruments. All right. That's what it was like. That's exactly what it was like. And I said it to them and they laughed. And I'm like, so I'm the one that's behind on all this. You guys all
Right.
knew the whole time. And they're like, well, yeah. The guys writing it though think it's just a product of their imagination, but it's just like when I would rap, it's like it was already there
Mm-hmm.
and the words would fall out of the sky and then form in
Exactly.
front of me.
Exactly.
I used to say in my rhymes, the skies just opened up, the rhymes fell. It was like watching alphabet soup form letters and words in front of me, and I would just kind of write it down.
I could see it.
So it's already there.
Mm-hmm. I could see
It's
that.
just how you choose to take it now, create with it, because everything is already everything. Like I asked once, how do you program the matrix to have everything in it? They're like, we program it. It never stops programming. It's
Right.
at the point now that every single thing that's discovered, and it happens, we'll use us every second, but that's not the truth. It would be way less than quicker than a second. It'd be like
Right.
the speed of light or quicker, the speed of thought. As these things are discovered and uncovered and re-uncovered and discovered, they just re-entering it. All that information goes into the Akashic, and then it's discovered from the Pleiadians, the Arcturians, from the frog, from the rat, from the dog, from the cat, from Paula and Frank, from Paula herself, from looking up, from looking down, from looking to like every single thing. And I'm like, well, how is that possible? They're like, because source is everything. It's the great all. To be the great all, you got to have everything. It's already got to be. And then you have to go experience it. And I'm like, what? And they're like, yeah, it's how you choose to experience it. So you're not copying. It's just there for the taking, which is why some people have funny jokes and they'll never see each other and they'll be using a very similar joke, but they both swear to God they wrote the joke or a song sounds similar. And you're like, well, it's like, well, I went through the same kind of breakup as that guy, and we wrote a song that was kind of similar, where the flows, maybe the beat might be the same, like the
Mm-hmm.
drum, and then the guitar is just different, right? But you'll hear the thing, and you'll be able to sing 5 different songs on that all mean the same exact thing.
Oh.
And you're like, well, who's doing that? And it's like, well, we're pulling from the same thing.
But even like we did the same thing when we started. Before we started the show and everything, we thought about what kind of show we wanted, and we succeeded. We did that, and then we started talking about the website and how we wanted that to look, and there we are. We have the website, and then we started talking about what kind of life we wanted to structure here, and bam, we did that. So you can do anything you want. You just have to plan it out. You have to have some sort of idea of a starting point.
Inside, yes, yes.
It's exactly what we did. Think about it. Think about it.
Think about it. I prefer to look at it as a new flower of life, like a
Hmm.
new branch started, and
But
then just that became the
but it's look at
main.
our ficus. She was a broomstick. We have pictures on Facebook of this ficus tree. We got this ficus tree. I had to prune her down because she was dying, and she was literally a stick. She had 8 leaves.
Free energy mobile inside the matrix. Humans, 80%, my perspective, are the all. So how do you fit the all in the body? Inside the matrix, you're still made up of ones and zeros. So it might be the next thing, then bytes. It's the highest. Like if the one thing was 4K, we would be like, 430,000 K. Like I can't explain. And then the spirit realm would be an even higher, because when you go into DMT world, there is no blurriness in your vision or nothing. It becomes like 100K. I don't know. So yes, we're more than bytes. We're not being defined by the bytes. It's just what holds and bonds things together within the matrix. The information, how to tie yourself to the information. We sprouted in a complete new plant. It was like we took two plants that were taken out of the ground and planted
We
together,
did. We
and
planted
then
them together,
grew
and they
grew
were.
together, and
Hmm.
the roots
Agreed.
kind of formed and became one plant.
Agreed. I like. I like it.
Like when I think about the past, it's in like this packet of information, like a little accessible thing that I could pull out, and I'm like, yeah, this is prior to you in every way, shape, and form, including it was like up till the point when the Catwoman came to me and said, "You'll know me by the Catwoman." I was already on the
Look.
path towards you, but when she said, "I'm coming," so it's like right before that. So I just go, "Well, the day I drank ayahuasca with Chris Gio, my whole life changed, and I just left it as I fell and got hurt, and then I had the push to heal,
Right.
and then Paula."
But when you told me that,
Everything prior to that is just a box with
I took a leap of
information.
faith. I believed you when you told me that, and then I saw. But you
Well, we also had other things like the Care Bear.
no, absolutely. There were absolutely markers left for us to remember. It's like that movie with Robert Downey Jr. and Sybil Shepherd. Chances are,
Sounds like
it's
something I would
very
never
similar.
ever want to watch.
No, 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 but it's very similar. So, the husband dies early in the movie,
Oh yeah,
and he
you were
wants
telling
to
me.
get back to his wife because they were in love, so their love was so strong. All he wanted to do was come back to her in this life, and he left himself a clue because they give you a shot of amnesia, and this is how they portrayed it in the movie, which is very true to how I believe it is. We're given free will, but if we're given free will, then we're given amnesia so that we can't remember everything. And I can understand that. And I can get my head around it. And are you eating a cookie? Yes, you are. Isn't it delicious? Did you have it with coffee?
I left you.
No, no, you can have them. You can have them. I ate almost the whole box. You can have the rest of them.
That was a
Um,
Malamo. Sorry.
but it was, isn't
It's
it
delicious.
delicious? Um, but when you want, when something when a love is that strong, or a hate is that strong, or a promise is that strong, or a commitment or a vow is that strong, it takes more than one lifetime to break it. So that's why we go through the same things over and over again, because if you took a vow seriously, it's going to take more than a lifetime to break it. If you took a love seriously, it's going to take more than a lifetime to get over it or to find that love again. And I think that I was definitely grateful. Like I said, my life was going in a completely different direction. Not good or better, or
Just different.
just different, completely
Yeah, I
different.
would have never guessed this. If you would have been like, yeah, guess, you win $1 million. Take 10 guesses right now where you
No,
think your
I would
life's
have never
headed.
guessed either. Never, never in a million years would I've guessed. Never. You know, I was talking about that the other night when I was having my meltdown. I said, how much more do I have to lose? And I was looking at it the wrong way, and but I was looking at it
I
the
knew
wrong
things
way.
changed permanently when I got thrown around by my first demonic entity, like threw me across the room, and then I made it through the event because Paula helped, and then I was able to stand up and be like, what was that? When did it become Ghostbusters? And the next time, when did I become the Exorcist? And the next time, when did I become a being
Right.
of light? What's going on? Like, it
Right.
just amplified each time and echoed up. And I'm like, I'm in. I'm in. Oh man, am I
But who's the voice of reason, right?
in?
'Cause we can do this. Come on, we can do this. I don't know how we're going to do it. It'll come to us, but we can do it each
I
time. We
screamed
can
this
do it.
morning, and I apologize. I'm gonna say it on air. I hate this place because I wake up sometimes and it's like hot and cold. Paul's right. Each room is different, and then the
There's a
heat.
different
If
temperature
the
in
heat
each
was coming
room,
on
and
right now, we wouldn't be able to do this because you'd hit, and it's so frustrating at 6 o'clock in the morning, at 5 o'clock in the morning, and it's not on all day. It's just a weird experience. Then it gets so hot that your skin starts to feel
yeah,
like
I
you're gonna
mean, we have
melt, and you're under the
humidifiers
covers,
running, and and
and you're like,
and
yeah,
and
good,
all
yeah,
kinds of,
good,
you
good.
know,
Then you get up, you gotta pee, then you come out, oh, there's cat poo, I gotta clean that. What the, you get into this whole zone.
it's
But
horrible.
yeah, so I don't know how many of y'all haven't been able to sleep. This is a thing I've been going through, but I haven't been able to, and I've been thinking that those of us that haven't been able to shouldn't be
Right.
because of what's going on. I know some of us have to go to work and stuff, but
But you see, it's good what you did because now you're not fighting it. Because I think when you're fighting it, like we talk about with
feeling sick
everything,
is what makes me an angry little butthole.
yes, but
It's
it,
not.
yes, but
I
that
could deal with the
contributes to
other.
you fighting it. Right now, you're going with the flow. Now you're realizing, hey, maybe I'm not supposed to be sleeping during that
That's why
time,
I'm having coffee right now
and
because I
just,
don't care because
yeah,
I
me
haven't
too.
gotten to sleep, so it doesn't matter.
I had two gigantic cups, and I'm okay because now I'm up for the night. Now this is it. It's us. Oh, thank you so much.
Sending you positive vibes and lots of love, my brother. Free Energy Mobile in the house.
Um, but I agree with that. You know, like you're not fighting it, and I think that's what they want. They want you to fight it. They want you to fight it because while you're fighting it out, whatever's supposed to be happening isn't happening because you're not focusing on what
Maybe
you're
they're
supposed to focus on.
pulling, or we're not in our bodies, or as we're upgrading, we're vulnerable.
Do you want to go for reflexology
I
tomorrow?
maybe
We should do that.
let's talk about it off air.
Yeah, I would. No, I was just
I
thinking
love
that
the way those ladies touch me, even the
because of
guys.
the because no because of the I think they'll help get us back in some sort of alignment.
Yes, I have to agree with that
Yeah,
statement.
I think so. Lily, you can go see your Lily Dragon.
I love Lily
You can
Dragon.
talk to her. We can send love ahead.
Um, yeah, so I forced myself at 2 in the morning to lay down and try to go to sleep. Right. Everybody that knows me knows that Frank's usually up past 2 anyway. But I start to lose it. Like I'm tired now because I didn't sleep
Mm-hmm.
the night before. You can see the circles in my eyes. It looks like I got black eyes.
Yeah, that's what's happening to him.
And then
Insomnia. It's like
yeah,
insomnia.
so after like 3 4 days of that, I'm ready to punch everyone. I'm like, rah, 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 rah. And then I remember that you are in that. Even though you're sleepless, you're not helpless.
Right.
You're not a victim. So in that weird state, I try to meditate it out. Um, and I realized that I'm like, I was telling my brother, it's like someone pokes me in the throat, bing, and I just opened my eyes, and I'm wondering if those are the moments I'm about to be attacked because I don't really think because I've been pretty good,
Right.
all things considering.
Right.
So I've been catching little cat naps here and there when I have to, and I'm wondering if that during certain times you'll be upgrading. Somebody needs to be awake. Once again,
Right.
we're going in the sleeping of shifts
Yeah, we do. Well, because then when you're up, I'm up.
or the nighttime. Maybe all these activities are going on, some kind of harvest of energy,
Hmm.
your thoughts, try to get you in a pattern,
Oh, I think
try to
so.
get sexual energy, try to get because they're on their last leg, right? If they're pulling energy from someone like me, it's an abundant source of energy
No,
as
no,
well
no,
as
no. I
Paula.
agree. I agree. I agree with
So
that.
if they can get you while you're there and doing the upgrade,
Hmm.
so it becomes this painful process of upgrading, um, and it hurts. It's like I'm walking through, and then you'll get sleep one day. I'll get sleep. This always happens, like 5 6 days out, and then I get the best sleep ever. And
Hmm.
I'm like, how did that happen? And it's like the energy shifts, and I'm like, maybe that was their chess move, and they were
Right.
soul harvesting and harvesting this. We're gonna
Hmm.
take this. It's like, well, your perma source is cut off,
Right.
right? And now all your abilities are being in circulating you, and we're like, nah, you ain't doing nothing no more. But they can still grab us individually and pull the power from us. One of the things I see,
Agreed.
right? They try to keep you in that fear state, and then who are you going to talk to about this if something like that does occur and you're aware of it?
Because you're already aggravated because you haven't slept, and you what you don't realize is now everyone's awake. So now there's a whole anger spiral going on because everyone's awake. It's
Well, I've been cutting it. you see how bad I get.
No, I
No, not
know.
angry, but how
No,
bad
I
I
know. I
physically am.
physically see it.
So I get torn. It's like a
Mhm.
horror movie sometimes, and I say that to you over and over, and I don't
Right.
mean to be,
No, no,
but
no,
it
no. I
feels
get
that
it.
way. But then I'm also like, once it's over, I am lucky I'm here.
But I think
I'm
now that
grateful
you're
I'm
looking at
here.
it
I'm
in a
thankful
different
I'm here.
way and you're working with it, it's not going to be that potent. Like the more you scream, I need to get sleep, the more the universe says, no,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's not happening. Because now I remember mornings when the cats wake me up. I mean, it starts some mornings it starts at 4:30 in the morning, and I would beg and cry, and it's like, why am I doing that? Because that's not going to make it any easier. Just let me get through what I have to get through, and then I can go back to it.
So this is how I
You
met
know?
Abraham
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
from
Let's yeah.
Esther Hicks.
Hmm.
She channels Abraham. Right. I didn't know Jerry died, by the way.
He died a very long time ago.
I
Yes.
had no clue
Hmm.
ever. So there's this weird. Well, I've heard a lot, but from her, but I haven't heard as much as maybe I. Anyway, you hear everything when you need to.
Right.
So I was complaining about sleep, and I jumped up and I grabbed my iPad. I said, "I'm getting up. Let's smoke a joint. Turn on this thing and watch some YouTube videos." I was sitting in bed pouting, smoking a joint, and flipped on and
Pouting. That's what
Esther
I do.
Hicks. It says, "If you're not getting sleep, you're in resistance." So I was like, "I'm in resistance, huh, Hicks? Huh?" And I pressed, "I'll listen to you. I'll give you 10 minutes and 11 seconds, you weirdo." Right. So I went into this rant internally, and she was talking, and she's just like, man, simple. She's like, look, if you can't sleep at night and you're like, yo, I can't sleep at night, you're not sleeping at night. So get rid of the resistance. And I go, easy for you to say, Hicks. You're channeling ETs and this, that, and the other thing. And as I was saying it, she just turned around and looked at me and was like, I can hear everything you're saying. I was like, whoa. I said a few nasty things too, just to say it because I was like, Dad, and she heard everything.
Hmm.
And I looked at her and I was like, oh, and then Abraham introduced himself from here, uh, this angle. So I was down here doing that. And then from here, boom, I was like, whoa, they're not really ETs. So I didn't know that. I didn't know. I can't explain it. And it was like, you're the creator. And I went into this thing. And then I was like, you know what? Shut the F up, right? Use a boat full of shit. And then they were like, oh, really? And I'm like, yeah, you want to see resistance? I'll show you what real resistance. And I started screwing with them. And then I couldn't sleep. It got so desperate that I shut off the iPad. I was angry that I went back and turned it on and went back to her and apologized, right? And then was sitting there going, I guess I'm in resistance. She goes, the whole thing that you just did was the resistance. All of that you came forward, you're like, look who it is. They're like, shut up and just be. And I'm
Right.
like, but you can't because look, I'm not sleeping. And then I'm like, wait a second, just shut up.
Why do you think there are nights when I come out in the middle of the night and I go, "Hey Frank, what are you doing?" And I go on the couch and we watch a movie
Those are
because
some of the best times.
it's not gonna happen. I'm not gonna sleep. It's not gonna happen. There are gonna be 10,000 things that would prevent me from sleeping. So I just get up and I go with the flow. Do I like it? No. Do I end up having a great time? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Out once again outside of your comfort zone. So what I've
Yes.
been doing now when I wake up, the time limit of me angering is shorter and shorter.
Exactly. But now that they came to you, don't you get it?
And
Like
then all right,
now
so
that's another validation.
I
Like,
I
come
went
on,
back to
stop your
Esther
nonsense.
and she looked like she was giving a talk.
Did you apologize to her?
Wait, so I think I was in the now moment of her giving that talk about sleep. I literally went to her when she was on stage in front of those people,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like off the side of the stage floating, like, you shut up. And then she just like a
You shut
second
up.
face or like her
Yes.
overstole turn and just had the conversation with me while she was conversating with everyone
Right.
in the audience. And I came back and I was like knocking on that door. It wasn't a door, but I was like, hey, it's me. And they were like, look who it is. And I went, oh, come on. You guys are higher frequency than that. And like every time with this guy, I go, no, no, listen, I came to apologize. And then instantly it was all cool. Everything was cool. And then I fell in, not in line, but in line with the energy and had many really cool open conversations.
Like, listen to
It's more like you should have a little more faith in certain things, and other things you need to just scrap and move on,
Mhm.
while other things continue building in that direction, and don't worry about anything else. Live a life, go have some fun, um, go do something that makes you happy. One of the things they said to me is, "Where you don't collect action figures no more," and I go, "Well, I don't have any room for it, and I also feel like I'm becoming the hero, but I like to surround myself. But I have a colony of cats, and they attack everything. They're like, yeah, every once in a while, get one you like. Just do it, right? Make yourself happy. You want something? What do you want? Something? What do you want? What do you get it? You'll feel good, and then that's it. We're just chill." And
Mm.
I'm like, oh. And they're like, look, little reward systems. You already do it with certain things, and while you're complaining about the other things, just break it down, step out of your comfort zone. And I've had to do that multiple times
Mhm.
this year. As we're getting into the change of the new year, I look back and say, the spring was 100% different than it is now,
Mhm.
and now is better. It was a building block to get me there, though.
Yes.
All these people that were there that I was, oh, these people that I don't like, they're all gone. Everything's gone, and I'm in a position of my own power. I mean,
Yes.
a lot of my own power. Putting me in a, I drive my car. I don't want your hand on my wheel.
I am rewarded in source. I got Frank. I did. I am rewarded. I got Frank. Even though I want to murder him sometimes. But I love him too. And he's getting it.
Yeah,
And
everything's been happening this year.
and we're really starting to vibe. And it's, I mean, we have, but now more so. Like now it's been tested and now it's been put in our faces like
So every day,
test it.
somebody I was somebody I was working with in a certain area of my life, it just wasn't working. And I'm like, how come I always just like, you just don't get it? Like,
Right.
you just don't get it ever, even when it's told to you. Like, an order is given. How do you mess up the order if it's written down in front of you? You agree to something and you do something 100% opposite different, but say, don't worry about it, I got it. Yeah, I
Right.
heard what you, I know exactly. Okay. And then not do it. So old me is like, well, you're a dummy, straight up. And I'd want to fight you and be like, oh, what is wrong with you? Instead of doing that, I just, I was like, I can't work with you anymore. I'm sorry. And when I remove that cancer, cancer from my everyday experience, and mind you, it was just an hour here, an hour there, my entire world changed when it came to what I was doing, and it put me in a full position of awesome,
Success.
fully successful. But you're by doing that, you're like, well, he helps me with this, and I'm going to need the help with this, and then with this, and so it's almost like you keep this thing around
Right.
because it's helpful in all these other areas. But
Right.
is it? Because it ruins everything here.
Right.
Okay, you're out. That's it. Never to speak to him again. Literally disappeared as if he doesn't exist. Haven't seen, heard, nothing.
Right.
And my life went excelente.
Yes.
And I can't believe it. That
And, and
one tweak.
and you proved something to yourself. You proved that you were trying to reach a personal goal, and you proved that you could reach it.
And I said, I think this person's bringing me down. I can't blame a
I
person,
yes.
but the blame is me
Mhm.
against myself for keeping this thing around.
Yes.
You're arguing with cancer, right? You don't
Mhm.
argue with cancer. You cut it out
No.
and you get rid of it.
Right.
Doesn't mean I got to throw him on his head and hurt him. I
Period.
could just say, I can't
Yeah.
deal with you
I had
anymore
yes. Yes. We
at
yes.
all,
Yes.
in any
There's
way, shape,
there's
or form.
no
Don't
room
come
in my
by.
life right now for
Don't
you.
call me. Don't
Mhm.
Facebook me. Just forget the whole thing, and we'll start over again from scratch. Okay, in separate universes.
Right.
Okay,
And there were no repercussions, which
none.
I don't I think that's what we're afraid of. Like when we say goodbye to people in our lives that don't really have to be there, we're
Well, it'll
afraid
hurt the
of the
business this way, or it'll hurt me that
or
way,
just
or I'll never see your
repercussions.
face,
Just
even though,
worried, you know.
well, because misery loves company. So you
Hmm.
feel like, well, then who
Yes,
am I going to
yes,
talk about the Jets with? Really? Really?
exactly.
There's groups of people to go talk about your stupid Jet football thing. I don't, whatever, but like, you don't have to make the crap connection just
Right,
because you,
right.
it's almost like we want to be in the because it's like the devil I know instead of the devil I don't. What devil? No, how about
Exactly.
no devil?
No devil.
I'm in charge here.
Right,
No devils allowed.
right,
Period. And then
right.
it's scary to become in control of your own
But
stuff.
it is scary. We were talking about it with me using my voice, communicating more, and it took years, years, and then to say no. It took years for me to finally say no. And then when I got to the, I guess it would be the apex of that fear. When I got to the other side of it, I noticed that all of the scenarios where I would have to say no were falling away. And there was no need for me to say no because there were no questions coming up for me to say no. And it was a really good thing. You know, you get what you want, you get what you ask for. So be careful of what you ask for. But it also put me in a position where I didn't have to be afraid of saying no because now I'm not put in that position. Let me offer before you ask and I have to say no. And it was a beautiful thing. And we've continued that. And now Frank is in a position where he is not asked to do things he doesn't want to do or forced to sacrifice something because it doesn't have to be a sacrifice. Um,
Yeah, I'm just over the BS.
yeah, you're over it, right? Don't give me the excuses. Don't give me the reasons. I'd rather not know.
And then I don't want to blame and
Right.
say you're the cause and this and that. Like,
Exactly.
I can do that.
Just we'll part ways.
I'll
Yeah.
leap of faith sometimes.
It is a leap of faith, though.
It's funny too because doors starting opening immediately. It was almost like as
Yes.
if this was building the whole time. And the day I said eject, they
Yes.
were like, "You should have did this in August."
Right. Because the stars and the moon and the sun are
And I'm
lining
like,
up
"When
for
in
you.
August?" They were like,
When
in
when you
January last year of August.
when you knew
That's
it.
when I was like, "Oh, it's that bad, huh?"
Right.
They're like, "We've been trying to tell you the whole time.
Right. But now the
Just hit
next
the
thing will be a
eject."
little easier. Like, because I know the next thing will be easier for me. Do you know what I mean? We've already scienced it. We've already practiced. We've already tried it, and it works. Someone else is talking about? No,
That is a weird noise.
it was a weird noise, right?
Yes.
You heard it too.
Yes. I don't know. What do you guys think? How do you guys feel about this? You ready to take on that work, that hard work, and get to the point of what we've been discussing? Is any of this? I see it in the chat room. It does ring true. I just want to be helpful. That's why we use our story and our information the way we get it, not as it's this is the way. It's just the way it worked for us. Those that need to hear it will hear it and take with it what they need to take from it and add it to them as a collective, like a neo shaman would. You know. So guys, all right, I see what's going on in here. Chris and I don't talk. We no longer talk at all. I won't probably talk to him. I don't need to talk to him. I have no desire. But it doesn't mean I don't love him. So I'm not going to do Truth Frequency. I don't need to do Truth Frequency. I mean, if somebody wants to have me on a show, that's different. I don't think he would have me on. And if he did, I probably wouldn't go. But that's how I feel about that. Okay. And I'm just like I talked about cutting things out of my life to move on into a better stage of things. Think of it as a booster rocket. We launch together and we have two separate destinations, but both are for the good of whatever it is that we need to do for us. And that's it. Right? It was the hardest thing leaving Truth Frequency, but it was the easiest move I ever made. It was the scariest jump because this to me isn't about ratings and stuff. I was doing 4,000 people every Saturday night. If I get 400 views in a week, all right, and I have over 1,000 subscribers, The numbers, nothing matches anymore, but it doesn't matter. I have Starship Fearless. This is my purpose, isn't to wake the world. It's to find my soul family. And, I'm thankful for everything Truth Frequency has provided, everything Chris has done for me. Some of the stuff to me, though, needs to be checked, right? Because you are an owner of a company doesn't mean that I need to suck off the tit of that company now because I need you or this, that, the other thing. Listen, sometimes it just, and it's a good thing
What are we talking about?
without fighting and arguments. None of that's necessary. I'm a man, you're a man, and it's a beautiful thing. He did something wonderful in his world. He brought me in, he woke me, he shook me. He had the ability to do that. And maybe that was the contract,
Oh, okay.
right?
Oh.
So that within itself is wonderful, and I appreciate it. Whatever him and Cherie did for me when at with our time at Truth Frequency and the highest vibration and whatever was wonderful.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So I don't look back at that and say, that was terrible. It was fantastic. It's fantastic. I loved every moment of it, and I love them. And I think they have an interesting journey ahead, and that's great because that's what we want, right? An
Oh
interesting
yeah,
journey.
yeah. But we have an interesting journey too, and our journey just it's going in a different direction. Like I mean, honestly, we were talking about that before. Our life paths were so completely different. It is amazing that we found each other because I was with your mom today when we were shopping, and stories were coming up from when you were a teenager, and I was like, I was part of that.
Yes.
And again, another reason why I should have met Frank years ago. It doesn't even matter.
Yeah. So Free Energy Mobile, it's growth, right? You guys physically
Yeah, but
witness
that's
the growth
yeah. But
spiritually
that's
and
it.
physically. I mean, here we are on video
Yeah,
live,
and validating this. Yeah,
and
totally.
we don't prefer it back to the radio. We loved being on the radio because you didn't see us or whatever. And we had all these, blah, 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 blah. But
Oh, there were so
we
many
have to
hand gestures
grow.
that everyone missed. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, we
Hmm.
have to grow as what we're doing and get over the fears of the public speaking, being on camera. Now, do we have to dress up? Do we have to look this? Does the apartment need to be a certain way? Do we
No,
have
I don't think.
equipment? We just said, look, we're going to do this. Let's go and do
On
this.
to the
And then
next thing. Yeah. On to the
we just
next thing.
started building it. Like we
Hmm.
bought one microphone, then bought another
Yeah.
microphone. Then we got and we just kept it going. And yeah, there were arguments and this and that, but for the best.
Right.
Okay. Yes, we did bring the rain and we were all part of that. And it was beautiful. And the pyramids and the this and the that. That's wonderful. Those are experiences
Right.
that piggybacked in a momentum that brought us so far ahead that we should all just be shaking each other's hand right now, going, thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you. I'm grateful because we wouldn't have been here without that
Yeah.
for sure.
It created the momentum we needed
Yes.
to make the change.
Yeah. Because
To make
it
the
just, it
change.
was time.
Yeah.
It was a growth
It's
spurt,
time. Yeah.
but I
Yeah.
get it,
We're thinking about giving more time. We're
yeah. So
adding another day here and there.
we want to throw more info out as Paul and I sit here and we'll start having conversations.
Great conversations, and it's
We
like
should just go
10
live.
minutes in and we're like, oh, we should have recorded that, or
Yeah,
15 minutes in, oh, we should have
just
recorded
say
that.
this on air and then
Yeah,
don't worry about
so
it,
that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna,
right?
when we have those moments, that's exactly what we're gonna do.
Also, Fearless Conversations is going to be the other.
Yeah, other
I
people are
gave
gonna,
up on everything else. If we want to do interviews with people, we're going to bring them on Fearless Conversations
yeah, and have the conversation.
and have a nice conversation
Yeah,
with
like
them.
Solaris is gonna have to. We're
No,
gonna
we're
have
bringing.
to. Yeah, we're gonna have
I
to.
got to book her, and then we did Aaron and Angela.
Hmm.
For those of you that didn't see last week's video, because I'm using the same cover photo just with
Yeah, it
the
was a
new
good
number.
conversation. I was in the other room listening. It was a really good
We did a Fearless
conversation.
Conversation, and it was fantastic. It just hit marks beyond anything. And
Hmm.
then the Solaris interview hit other. Man, we did so much output. Plus the show last
Hmm.
week, I had put a lot of output into that, and driving back into this week naturally. So I want to keep that momentum going. I
Hmm.
have to. I sit here and I'm like, well, I'm a little depressed. I'm a little this. I'm a little that. It's like, well, why don't you just what
Share
makes you happy?
share the information.
And
Yeah.
it's like, I'm happy sharing information. I'm happy being here and spending time with you and me and getting to know me and getting to know you and us and talking about different things.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much. Sending you positive vibes. I love you guys so much. You
But
say
that's
so
what it is, you know, like
wonderful things about us. I just love you guys. Fearless Family is what it's all about. It's not about thousands of people and this, that, the other thing. It's not about promoting to the Uber crowd. I don't need the Uber crowd.
right, we don't want that.
We
We
don't.
want
We
to keep
don't
it the
need
way it
that.
is. Yeah.
We're going to be fighting our way out of people injecting poison from the inside and
Yeah.
everything. I just
Yeah.
rather have like a collective of people that could share these
Yeah, like-minded
experiences
people that are putting
and
putting
then
into practice what they're learning along the way.
taking it and then putting it into
Yeah.
places and then all of us using it,
and
taking
and
that
what
path.
doesn't work
We just
doesn't work. Don't try something different. You know, that's basically what it is. We tried something different and it worked. And then you get a little bit of confidence and a little bit of momentum, and then you try something else that's different and that works too, and you're like, wow, if these things work, maybe everything can work. And it does. And so it will be, because you declared it.
yeah, that's exactly what it is. So
Yeah.
we decided it's going to be our way. That's it. And we want to be happy doing it. That's it. Right. And within that, it'll create everything will start to bloom out of that. And my purpose is to, if we were all DNA linked or vibrationally linked on the other side in one way or another, and my voice set you into that motion,
Hmm.
that's part of the purpose. Just even if it just, well, I don't like what he said, but that was cool. I'm going to move on to this.
Right. Well,
And
wasn't
then
there someone who just reached out to you? They listened to episode 2 from
from
years from a
TFR,
couple of,
yeah,
yeah, from TFR from a couple of years ago.
and said it's the greatest thing I ever listened to. This is
He
great. I'm like,
just
that's, you know
found
how old that is?
episode 2 now, but the stories are still relevant.
It's super relevant because people are having these experiences.
Exactly. And they
We
don't
clear
have
the
anywhere else
path.
to go for this information. So they are relevant, you know? I mean, look, it's got to ring true to someone, you know? And I think Fruits he is. But
Paranormal portals. Thank you so much, my
thank you.
brother
Yes, thank
KG,
you so much.
with the big yeah, yeah. Me and Kevin doing songs together. I got a bunch of stuff.
But I think that's
I
awesome.
wrote all these lyrics to our songs, and none of them fit our songs. They fit every other thing, like from the '90s, which is weird. So I've been like retweaking and re-getting everything ready because me and KJ are gonna do some crazy, crazy stuff. I love it. I love the coming together of these people would never have been here if it wasn't for going fearless.
Always
We
so.
love you so much. Uh, we're building together and we're growing together.
Hmm.
It's not about being over you and charging people for this, that. It's about being genuine and unique and kind and curious and filled with discussion. And
Just question. Is someone, do you hear a cat crying?
I
Oh,
do.
it's Oscar. It's, hi, baby. It's Oscar. He's crying. Sweet soul.
I hear it. Um,
Hi, boo.
so we're just going to continue the push. I want you guys to know and you gals to know, my fearless family, we love you very much. Just remember, we're all going through it. And in those, you've been putting in the work, these hard moments where you're falling flat on your face, you're not going
As
down.
far down.
You're
Yeah,
not like on the
it
ski
doesn't. It
slope and
doesn't
you're
work
going,
that way.
you know, I
Yeah.
attribute it to like this. Like I would have to, if you put a pile of cocaine in front of me and you're like, yo, dude, this is like Colombian cocaine, pure from Scarface, right? And you threw it on the table, right? Now, I'm not even getting a chill saying it. I used to not be able to say it and I'd get chills and freaked out. Not that I did that much cocaine. It's just that I enjoyed some freaky stuff, right? So I would be able to not partake and not get upset and be like, yo, get your stuff and get out of here.
Wow.
So
It's big.
yeah, so we're building for sure this
Now,
unshakable,
if you put a pile
unbreakable.
of chocolate chip cookies down,
That's a different
I don't
story.
know, but that's a different story.
You know, the other night when I wasn't feeling good and I kept waking up, going down, waking up, going down, I was like saying to Ayahuasca, Mother, I think I gotta come in. I'm all clogged again and everything and this and that. And then she was like, yeah, you need mushrooms. So then I hear laughter and I'm like, what's that? And they're like, you dude, you never use this anymore. Like this should be diet at this point. You're Frankie Fearless. You would be over here and
Yeah,
you'd be
but you
able to
know
be
what it
like, I'm
is?
so fearless, but now you're kind of tumbling back into this. And it was like,
Yeah, but
wait. So Aya says we turn into her on the other end.
hmm
I felt like I absorbed their energy from that experience and
yeah,
almost tripped and had the experience.
yeah, but you know what it is? We've
Well,
had
I feel the taste in my
we
mouth.
yeah we had grandma, so there was always this in the background like a sense of we could be called at any time for anything. So it was almost like you had to be kind of ready. You had to have like a go bag. You had to be ready because we didn't know if we were going to need to sleep there or drive somewhere
Yeah,
or
in
bring
five
some
minutes you
car
need to
back.
be able to
Yeah,
pack up and just be able to
yeah.
spend the
So
night.
it's very difficult to be I don't know, free like that. So but definitely it's something that needs to happen.
Yes, and then
Yes.
as the information comes forth, it's happening faster and faster. It's hard for me to wait a week because I don't. I jot some stuff down. Here's my notes for tonight's show. I want to show you something ridiculous. Right? You can't even read it. Right? It says observation mode. So intense, not being able to respond, pushing through your comfort zone. I wrote that 5 minutes before the show, and I'm like, there's 100 things that went on this week. 100 that we could have
At
just
least a
just drove
hundred.
into
Yeah, at
15
least.
minutes of and then drop that on the table. So we're
Yeah.
noticing
No,
that
no I, I,
ourselves.
I think that you need it too. I think you need an outlet. I think there was a lot of, it was 10 months with grandma being ill, being sick, go, no go.
Well, you know what it is too? I know they're sitting there. I don't mean this in a impolite way. I mean it totally polite. Um, just like me, every once in a while going through YouTube going, it's just not worth it anymore.
Yeah, yeah. Like
Or
it's,
this just isn't cool. This isn't working for me no
yeah,
more.
yeah,
But
there's
yet
a,
I'm sitting with the information that I have
exactly,
going, I should just
exactly.
talk to you
Because
and you
then
could
other
talk to
people
me.
are opening up and talking about their information and they have a lot of similar information. So,
Yeah.
and the mallow is Frank's. He can have the last one. We always save the last of something in the house, like if it's a dessert, and then we're like, why didn't anyone eat it? And then
Yeah,
we're
we'll
like, we
leave
were
one
saving it for
there.
each
It's
other.
like, no, I left it for you. It's like, no, I left it for
Yeah,
you. It's like,
but he
no,
can
I'll
have it.
share that with you.
Yeah,
And
no, I ate
this
I
goes
ate
on.
almost the whole box myself. Frank knows when I'm in that kind of head. He
So
just
I lost
doesn't
all
even.
this weight when we got sick
I know.
last month, and I put on 11 pounds
I
back.
know. Meanwhile,
I don't
I
even
know.
know.
Meanwhile, I'm down 7 pounds. I just put two pairs of jeans on that just fit now after the stomach flu.
I
You're not
saw
even gonna
your
believe
pants
it.
look baggy on you a
They
little
were
bit.
baggy. I couldn't
I was
believe it.
like,
I
those
couldn't
don't
believe
fit
it.
you. That was
Those
odd to see
and
on
that
you.
was in my keep for when I get thinner pile on the because they
Really?
were in the high drawer in the dresser and I never go in there because it's too high. And I said, let me just try it. Two pairs of jeans.
Yeah, that's like a pair of jeans you'd wear if you had like long johns underneath.
They were never baggy.
No, those were
It was
baggy.
always like the top button was just too tight, like it was cutting into me, like like at the end of the night, it was painful. But yeah, two pairs of jeans. Weird,
So
so weird,
we're dropping weight, we're gaining weight, you're losing weight, you're gaining
so
weight, you're
weird.
crying, you're laughing, you're okay, you're not okay, just you're all right.
Oh
Just
yeah, did
remember
we
that.
talk about the pound cakes? 2 pound cakes.
Yeah, we ate 2 pound
That's
cakes,
why
and
you
these
gained so
things were
much
not
weight.
a pound, by the
It was a
way.
family friend. She
It
ended
was
up
like
she ended
this
up making
big.
us a pound cake, and then Frank's mom gave us a pound cake. So we actually ate a pound cake, an entire pound cake
I ate
each.
your mom's pound cake.
But I kept the it's so weird because I could never do this. I kept that weight off. You gained it
Yeah,
back.
but it's the hustle.
I stopped eating food though
Yeah,
because I
it's
was
the
eating pound
hustle.
cake.
You're also moving. You're a little more mobile than me
Uh,
at times.
at times,
Yeah,
yeah. I go
you
through
go
these
out with my
spurts.
mother. That's already like being at the gym for 20 hours.
Oh yeah, well today was one of those days. She had me all over, but it was wonderful. We got
And
everything
dare I
done.
say, worry and concern.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah, I feel like the non-sleep is what's keeping me from getting fat because I'm like, and then I'm peeing all night long and purging, and then have to. It's the weirdest thing. I can't explain what's happening to my body, but if there was ever a rule in transformation, and you would think, yeah, I'm just going to transform, it'll be cool. It's like, nah, your every cell has to literally do something different, and then shed one layer, and it's like layers,
Oh, I stopped
and then
putting the
it's
milk in my coffee.
flipping and then
And
removing one,
yeah,
flipping, remove, and
yeah.
everything in your body's doing that. So it's not pleasant. It's not fun. It's not easy. But the reward, just like the work we talk about, putting in the
Mhm.
work, your spiritual work for yourself, instantly you're just a million times better, in a better position, in a better place, in a better state of awareness, in a better state of understanding. And even when you're not understanding it, but you're aware of it, you can, like my mother's like, oh, how do I get this information? If I, like, I'm asking God for the, don't ask God for the information, ask your highest self, go inside, stop going, God, can I give it? Stop doing that. Go inside to you and be like, okay, listen, higher self, what's the info? Where's the info at? I got a question. Where's the answer? And then listen, and don't expect a response like, let it happen. The universe works in strange ways. You know, I have people in the fearless group that were hanging in there the whole time, but still in disbelief of stuff. And then, boom! Wow, the universe works in such strange ways. I have my dream job. I went to work, and then I left.
Yeah.
I gave this up, and then
Yeah.
dream job. Life is good. Universe rewards bravery. Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I told you, but telling you doesn't do anything. You got to go through and experience it. And we're all part of the group together.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, is he talking shit or is he not talking shit? Is it
Right.
real? Is it real? And something leaves you hanging on because you're on that side of the fence. You're like, no, I'm in, I'm in. And then boom, because you've been putting those vibes out there, and then the universe is revealing the magic to you, which is you.
Right.
You the magician. Shout outs to Josh and Jody Carruthers.
We have to
You
bake.
the magician.
We have a lot of dough to prep for Christmas
Do
cookies
do do
this
do
week
making dough. Make Christmas cookies.
for everyone.
I love Christmas cookies, and you can put good energy into it. And
Hmm.
since you're using sugar, which isn't naturally that good, right? We know that. Well, you recharge that crystal with some good, yummy, uber duber flavors. I love the holiday season, but it comes too quickly. Like it was every 2 years.
Yeah, give me a chance to miss it. It's back. We love it.
I think it's another one of those things that's falling away, and it's becoming more of just a way to recognize that you should be recognizing people all year, each
I
other,
guess.
yourself.
Do you
You
hear
know,
it? Do you hear a cat
I hear something. I think someone's in the window.
calling? Oh, maybe. All
All
right.
right, so this is where we're going to wrap it up. I want to thank each and every one of
Yes,
you.
thank you all for being here with us.
I um I appreciate you. I love you. I think you're great. For those that want to join us in the Fearless Family Facebook group, that's where we get everything
Yes,
done.
please come in. I gotta go let this
Go
one.
ahead, go check it out. It's the Fearless Family on Facebook. When you get there, don't forget to answer the question. I got 34 people sitting there. I'm gonna leave them there, and I laugh every time I look. I go, if you can't answer the question, remember to breathe in and out every day, right? In between the decisions. And Little Bear says, what's up? All right. And stay fearless, everyone. And remember, the universe rewards bravery. Stop by IamWeAreFearless.com for the latest and the greatest in designs and wear and hats and shoes and boots and socks and shit. Come check us out. We love you so much. And I'll see you next time. Peace.
That was really good.